following AOR live stream is brought to you by the following sponsors: Elgato Gaming, Hype Energy Drinks, Thrustmaster and GT Omega Racing. Make sure to check them out in the description down below after the race. Hello and welcome back to Apex Online Racing for the finale of Season 16 of the F1 2018 League with Hype Energy Drinks. It's obviously the final race, round 21. It is, of course, the Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi. The championships are wrapped up, but we've still got a fight going on for second place in both the drivers and the constructors championship. But we're going to have a wee bit of fun here tonight as well, and have a wee bit of a laugh as we go along, reminiscing of the season that's gone by. My name is guys, I've gone with a laid back attitude and not bothered with a normal intro all season, and joining me in the box and still waiting for his dinner is Ollie. How are you doing, Ollie?
Yeah, I'm hungry, I'm starving, but we got ourselves 15 drive.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. Started all the way back in September. We've seen a lot of action, seen a lot of good racing, especially in Champions. But second is still up for grabs. Casper and the H-Eagle are still fighting it out. It is pretty much in Casper's favour. The H-Eagle needs to win, pretty much, is the consensus. He is 19 points behind with a maximum of 25 up for grabs, so he needs to win this race. And in the constructors, though, it's a lot tighter. There's only 5 points total, so in second it's Talbot in third. The drivers are heading out on track, and a wee bit of tidying up from last week's Brazilian Grand Prix. We've seen and finished it with Nico as the race winner, but the results were changed midweek. You might remember Lee Finlay crashed out, to our utter disbelief. He got a puncture on the last lap, but he did cross the finish line, and the stewards have awarded Lee the race victory. So Lee Finlay finally gets that first victory of the season at Brazil, and that means coming into we have 9 different race winners across 8 of the 10 teams. It's been a phenomenal season, Ollie.
Yeah, it really has been. It's been an exceptional one where I think we've seen a lot of intensity and a lot of battles. For me, a personal highlight was the black flag drama with Sean that could sin and get kicked out the league, and him having to be a bit more careful. And then he had that moment where he kept on crashing here in poor runs, and the H-Eagle briefly overtook him. We thought we had a battle for the championship, and then Sean just turned it up a notch. And now Casper is in second and cruising. He's been a late charger. He's probably been driver of the season, if not for Sean. He's been absolutely phenomenal at times, really pushing his ability to the limits. And one final time, I think we should say a warm welcome to Mr. and Mrs. Casper, the parents, of course, who are big fans of their son's progress in the esports. But yeah, I always say it's a bit of a shame we've only got 15 drivers here for the finale, but I reckon with the drivers we've got on show, the likes of Ruben back this week, and I feel it feels like when you look at the grid, there's no weak links and there's no chinks in the armour that may be at the back end. I think they could all be relatively close.
No, so it's a really close league. See, all the drivers got at least 1 points finish between, at least, if not more than that. So everybody's been able to finish the points at some point in the season, and it's going to be an interesting finish to the year. We've got the Hypersoft, the and the Super Sauce, and the for qualifying is underway just now, and is sitting within a bit of a desert almost. I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah, this is shocking. I'm just quickly looking at a few people on their laps. Ash is just making his way on his outlap, and I'm not sure about you, but that looks like to me a brand new helmet for Ash. I've not seen him wear that, and I know this is the most random thing you could possibly say, but it does look like a fresh coat of paint for Ash here. But he looks to be ramping up for a lap. There's a few of them out there at the moment as well. Cherry 2 players just cruising through the final section. It's the final qualifying of the season. I wouldn't say it's a big deal, but obviously I think everyone wants to pick up that final win. Of course, we will be having our big farewell review style end of season finale at the end of proceedings this afternoon, which are going to be a bit exciting. The only guaranteed person is Sean. We will have the podium interviews, which will be briefly followed by the season review, where we'll get a few drivers in to see what they have to say. Cherry 2 player is at the top of the time. He's at the moment 1 minute 34.9. I've just checked, and I've just checked the review. I think there might be an issue with Andy's mic. He normally sorts it out. He normally jumps in and out, but normally crackles at the beginning and gets it going. Hopefully it sorts out quickly. Looking at a few guys to keep an eye on for qualifying. For me, Kiski, Johan are always outsiders that you can keep a close eye on. Ash has not really performed since Melbourne, which was the round one, where ever since then he's really not seemed to step it up. Lee Findlay, last time's winner, coming through the final corner now. I think he's just starting a lap as he crossed the line. He now begins his lap, so he's somebody. But obviously, Sean is the one to watch. He wants to end the season the way he's pretty much been the entirety of the season itself. He wants to pick up the 25 points and end on a high note.
Definitely, so hopefully he's working, keep an eye on the themselves. Right now, one thing else is trying to myself a microphone. One thing trying.
I think your mic is now gone again, Andy. But I think I got the brief of what you said is that you're getting yourself a new microphone, which is a little bit ironic, really. But hopefully that sorts itself out pretty quickly, and we'll keep a close eye on it. It normally just takes a couple of plug in and plug out. Sean has dropped himself in third. Johan goes to top of the time and shoots 1 minute 34.6. It doesn't look like they're at their maximum pace at the moment, but I think I'm hearing Andy's mic, meaning I think he's back to normal.
I hope so. I'll be glad to get rid of this. Good, excellent. I'll try not to move too much as we go along. It's so hard to sit here so still without moving. It's really not easy at all. But yeah, Johan at the top at the moment of 34.6, 2/10 clear of Cherry 2pi. Cherry did slow down before crossing the line. I get the funny feeling Sean might have done a similar thing on the first lap. It's been a bit of a thing we've seen this season as they cross the line for the first time, not wanting to go too quick too soon. Lee come round on his first lap. He was actually invalidated on a 1 minute 34.0, so he would have been top of the standings at the moment. But he invalidated that lap time, so it's one of these ones. It's going to be a fun race here, obviously, for the final round of the season. I'm looking forward to seeing who ends up where when we get into season 17 before too long into the near future. Let's just pick up a driver coming round at the moment and see. We're going to actually follow Casper round to the last sector now, and I'm going to take you around a hot lap of the Yas Marina circuit for the last time this season. You can see he's just jumping on the brakes and off them and on them again, getting some temperature into those tyres. Little stat for Casper, he's finished every single race this season and only one of them was outside the points, and that was that issue he had in Spa in the first lap that put him in the wall. But he comes across the line now, heading down towards turn 1, down to 4th gear, around about 95 miles an hour, clip the curb on the exit, and then through turn 2 and 3 this is just continuously flat out. Tyres take a bit of punishment through here, use the curbing on the exit, and heading down to the quick chicane here at the end of sector 1, take as much curb as you dare to use to avoid invalidations, and then into the hairpin, which I believe is turn 6. Got to get a good exit out of here because it's a long old straight down the back of here. DRS coming now, heading a long way up the straight up towards the next chicane, which I believe is turn 7 and 8, looking for the braking point at 100 metres, down to 2nd gear, quickly down to 1st, and then back to 2nd, use the curb on the right hand side, and then once again back on the power. DRS down here as well. We could see quite a few moves down here, people using the first DRS zone to line up a move down here, hard on the brakes one more time, down to 3rd gear, and then you're clipping the right hand side and then back to the left straight away real quickly, and then once again through the left hander. Now this next couple of corners absolutely flat out through here for the first part, but the braking zone here just by the hotel is quite tricky because you're still turning while you start braking and downshifting. With Casper gets it in well underneath the hotel and getting a bit of a tank slapper on, running very wide there through the left hander, and he's backed out of the lap there. But then come through the second last corner, it's quite easy to run wide there and get an invalidation, and then into the final corner you'd go round about 85 miles an hour roughly, and then you would power on again and away you go one more time. So puts himself in front at the moment. We've only got 4 drivers at a lap. I get the feeling a few of them pushing it on their out laps and laps to find where the track limits are. Chat, Z-Freeze joined us again, shouting for Blizzard and Ash, and TTTV in there, which is another channel I sometimes go to sometimes, but we'll leave that one alone, so I'm not allowed to talk about it. But hello guys, I'm sure that's me, so how you doing? But yeah, only 4 drivers so far, Ollie. They're taking it easy, aren't they? Yeah,
there's more sandbags on a game of Call of Duty. It is, it's an interesting one. I'm a little bit surprised that no one's gone for the laps. Maybe they're all just trying to bluff each other to see if they can leave it as late as possible. I'm not sure if the cooling conditions maybe of the you know, the transition from day to evening in more of a twilight condition maybe is affecting the tyres and the temperature and the track performance. I'm not too sure. There's a lot of yellow flags coming up in sectors 1, 2 and 3, and that's just drivers backing off and trying to find the optimum bit of real estate on this beautiful track. Obviously one of the, not longest, it's probably one of the sort of the medium, sort of the average, the mean of the track. It's an average, it's par when it comes to length. Around about 1:30 is what you'll find an average of a Formula 1 racetrack. And for me personally, and this is just a very biased personal opinion, for me this is the greatest Grand Prix on the calendar. There's nothing quite like Abu Dhabi. For racing it's okay, but it's not just about the racing, it's about the spectacle, it's about the location, the conditions, the modern vibe. It's look at the architecture around it, the whole feel of it. It just feels glamour. For me, this is better than Monaco. Monaco for me is a bit overrated. I think if Monaco was a new race, it wouldn't get on the calendar. I'm not a huge fan of Monaco. This for me is Monaco on WWE style steroids. Imagine Monaco's been buffing and going to the gym, but needs that little boost. So he gets a little needle, and Monaco plucks it in its arm and goes, there we go. And Monaco comes out with the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix with yachts 10 times the size, track limits not really a thing, and overtaking available. That for me is what this track is.
That has been an absolute feature of this season, as well as you coming out with those explanations for things. However, we don't anticipate use of needles, so please do not do that. The H Eagles put himself into provisional pole at the moment, a 1:34.5 for the Sauber driver. He needs to win here tonight, obviously, to have a chance of taking second place in the championship from Casper. Blizzard on the Hypersauce has gone into the 33s, a 33.0 as well, so pretty decent lap time there from the Renault driver. And just while we're in qualifying, it's been fun this year qualifying. There's been 8 different drivers who have qualified in pole position. We were having a wee chat before coming on the air, and a few of them you couldn't even remember of. So Sean's managed to get 4 pole positions. Casper and Cherry Tupai have managed to get themselves 3 apiece. Dow Big Parenta, who was racing in the Red Bull earlier in the year, they've both had 2 apiece, along with the H Eagle and RC Spider, who you might remember won at Monaco in France. And then Lee Finlay and Vettel Racer have got 1 pole between them each, so it's been quite a mixed bag. 8 different pole positions across the drivers. We've had 9 different winners as well this season. Sean obviously leading the way with 6, H Eagle on 4, Casper with 3 victories, Spider with 2, and then Ash, VP McGrady, Lee Finlay from last week, Ruben and Kieski all with 1 apiece. And as I say, it means 9 different drivers, 8 different teams in that as well. So it's been really, really good. As we seem to have lost Ollie, so I'm going to have to go solo for the meantime. Hopefully he'll be back before long and we'll try and figure something out. But it's been a really good season in my opinion. There's been plenty of action to keep us going. The midfield scrapping has been absolutely unbelievable. I get the feeling we might be having a few lobby issues at the moment, because that's Daniel and Lee Finlay. Quite a few drivers actually have already dropped their way out here, so it's not looking too good at the moment. We've got a mass disconnection going on by the looks of it. Casper's just put in the chat, so we'll see what's going on. The screen's going to be a second because Ollie's just invited me back to the lobbies to get in our party chat, so give me a wee second. You'll still be able to hear my voice, but of course at the moment, but it seems like quite a few of the drivers having problems as well. Of course at the moment, but it seems like quite a few of the drivers having problems as well. You back with us, Ollie? Oh, PlayStation network issues. That's not good. Oh, PlayStation network issues. That's not good. Can you? Yes, I can hear you again. There we go.
Got kicked out of PlayStation Network in the game, so
mass disconnection. I think a lot of the drivers have just been
really?
mentioning it in the chat. Casper's put it in the chat down below. The PSN chat's been going up as well. But quite a lot of them all went bye-bye at the same time as you dropped out of the party chat, so I think PSN had a bit of a hissy fit for a minute.
Well, I've got to dart off quickly, so I'll keep a close eye on the stream. I'll be 2 seconds, just got to quickly eat.
Yeah, go for it. You need to eat, my friend, go for it. So we're into the final 4 minutes then of the qualifying session, and for the last round we're having a lot of fun here trying to figure out what's going on at the moment. At the moment we've only got 10 drivers having set lap time. Blizzard's on pole position at the moment with Johan in second, H Eagle for Daniel in fourth, Cherry Tupai fifth, Vettel Racer in 6th position, with Juggler in 7th place. We've got Sean in 8th, Casper 9th, and Jim Pasty rounding out the top 10 in terms of times. Lee Finley, Ash Kieske, Ruben and Tactician still to set a lap time at the moment. So we seem to be having some issues, and for sure what's going on. We might be having a restarted lobby, so give me a wee second. I'm just going to go quiet myself. So it looks like we might be having a restarted lobby possibly. Let me just have a wee look here. It would seem to be. So quite a lot of the drivers seem to be possibly leaving. It looks like we might be restarting the lobby possibly. So I'm just waiting on the official word, so I don't want to leave in at the moment. Looks like the drivers can't get back into the existing lobby. Possible PSN issues, I believe, because I had a message come up on my screen saying PSN connection unavailable. So I get the feeling that we might have to restart things, and we'll have to go one more time. But we're just waiting on. Yeah, drivers are starting to leave the session just now. So again, the screen's going to go blue for just a moment, and as I go join into the new lobby, because we are restarting things. Hold on, the screen will be blue. It's nice to know it's not just my technical issues that we have problems with this year. Finishing off the season on a high, everything going absolute Pete Tong. Let's see, where are we? Oh, that one. Nope. Nope, seem to have lost it. Great. So I'll come back into the lobby now, give you those pictures that are for the drivers that are still about at the moment, but everybody is, it looks like, setting up into a new lobby. I just tried to click on the invite. It said the invite's no longer valid, so lovely technical issues to finish off the season. PSN decides it doesn't want to agree with us in any way, shape or form. You're currently looking there at Jim Pasty just rolling around pretty slowly. Blizzard's out on track, as is Johan. But they're the only ones out on track. Everyone else has pretty much left out to the session at the moment. So there goes everyone leaving along. So give me a second, I'm going to need to message across because it's not working. So we're still here at the moment, just waiting to figure out what is going on in full. So I do apologise that this is obviously cutting into qualifying. We'll need to wait and see what's going to happen, but it seems that PSN network issues possibly caused the problems here, as it's kicked a lot of people from the lobby. Had a mass disconnection. You can see Johan and Blizzard and Jim Pasty are still going around at the moment, maybe not noticed what is happening just now, so they will realise that at the end of the qualifying session. We'll need to wait and see if it will be a full qualifying session that we have, or if we may just go for a one-shot lap and dash, so to speak, to do qualifying. I'm just going to wait in there. Here we go. Now there's my invite, so the screen's going to go blue again for the moment as we disappear from the on-track action just now. So just going to be jumping into a new lobby now, and I can only apologise for this, our errors and situations out with our control, unfortunately, here at the moment on AOR, but we're just getting the new lobby starting back up, and hopefully we'll have no more issues for the rest of the evening. It's the first time we've had that this season, with mass connection issues, so it's been nice to get through 20 rounds without it at least, but it's going to happen now and again. It's just one of these things that unfortunately comes about when you have online racers. You've obviously got multiple different countries. We've got Sean's obviously Dutch, we've got Joglar from Ruben from Spain, we've got Casper being Dutchman as well, a couple of Germans, Finns, so we've got plenty about it, and the fact that the lobby's been pretty stable most of the season has been quite nice to see, but it does mean obviously that we have now came across this issue, and I do think it was a PSN issue, so we're just waiting for everything to load back in and load back up. Once we've got the drivers, we'll be getting back underway one more time, and I do think it'll be a restart of qualifying, but we'll need to wait and see what happens. since we have got a bit of a moment here, if you have been watching the stream regularly this season, put in the chat below, who do you think's been, you know, what was your most favourite race of this season in F2? Who's impressed you the most? Who's been the biggest disappointment? Put it down below, because we're going to be chatting about this as we go through the evening. Obviously, Ollie's away having his dinner at the moment, of course. But that's just one of those things, obviously, that happens. But tell me what your thoughts are of this season. I've really enjoyed it. It's been my first season doing AOR. It's been far beyond what I expected it to be. It's been so amazing. The midfield battling has been unbelievable. Even at the front has been incredible as well. There was a point, as Ollie was saying, that we thought Sean was going to possibly walk away with it, and then RC Spider won a couple of races, closed the gap up, and then obviously he wasn't around due to work commitments, and then H Eagle caught up and overtook Sean as well at the point that Sean had his race ban. And then just so much has been back and forth through the season. In the midfield has been unbelievable all season long. It's been really, really good. But I've been going through the stats, which I'll come on to in a little bit in a moment. But it looks like we've got 14 of the drivers in the lobby. So who are we waiting on? Let's see whose name I don't recognise. Looks like we're waiting on Johan to come and join us, because he was the 15th driver. So won't be too much longer now before we get back underway this evening. What I'm going to do at the moment, though, if you give me a second, I'm going to take a wee moment to tweet this out, because that's one thing I haven't done yet. 2 seconds, I'll be right back with you. There we go, that's me advertised it. So yeah, that's me done all that bit. So we're just waiting now for the drivers to start ready and back up, and we'll be able to get back underway very shortly indeed. But yeah, I've really enjoyed this season. I hope you guys have as well. I do apologise for the ongoing mic issues I've had through the season. It's been frustrating. I'm going to try and figure out what's going on, because there's times where my mic works absolutely perfectly, like right now, and then there's times where it obviously does what it's been doing. So it's a really strange one. I'm going to try and spend the off season figuring out what the situation is, so that we don't have that moving forward, and hopefully we won't see that problem next season. A couple of wee bits from the stats as I was going through. Drivers are now ready enough to go back into qualifying. Mentioned earlier, Casper has finished all 20 races so far this season, a 100% completion rate. He's finished in the points in every single round except for the Belgium Grand Prix at Spa, where he finished in P12. Sean's obviously not been here for every race due to his race ban at Hungary that he picked up, but from the other races that he's been here every other race apart from that, and he's finished every other race apart from that one. And there's only one other race that he's finished outside the points, and that was the German Grand Prix, where he finished in P12. It was a horrible race for the champion of F2 this season, but him and Casper have pretty much been in the points every race. The H Eagle, obviously he had 2 races out with being on holiday, which was Japan and USA. He also had 2 finishes outside the points, which was a DNF last week at Interlagos and a P12 in Canada. And Lee Finley's had 2 DNFs through the season as well, which was at Spain and Monaco back to back, and 1 other non-points finish, which was the German Grand Prix as well. And it's no surprise that with the consistency that those guys have had being in the points, that those are the top 4 in the championship standings. Obviously, it does look like Casper will be likely to take second place, but obviously if the H-Eagle wins, then it will be enough for the H-Eagle to take second place, because the gap between them at the moment, Casper's on 230 points, the H-Eagle is on 211 points, so it's a 19-point gap, 25 points for the race win, 18 points for second. It would put them tied in second place, but I do believe it would be H-Eagle that takes it on second, because he has more race victories, 4 coming into tonight compared to 3 for Casper, and obviously if he wins tonight that would make him up to 5 race victories as well. One of the other bits I picked up is the drivers are fixing themselves to get ready to come back out to restart qualifying is the head-to-heads. Now I've not picked everybody out because we have had some driver changes through the season, but a few interesting ones in here. So at Ferrari it's been Sean and Davidos obviously all season long. Davidos hasn't been here for the last couple of races unfortunately, but Sean's been ahead on that, obviously 15 races ahead of Davidos, who's finished ahead of him 3 times. A little bit closer in qualifying, it's 11-7 in Sean's favour when they have both been racing, but as you expect obviously from the season 16 champion, he is obviously up there getting more of the details. Lee Finlay is, well, I don't like to say it to Ash, but he's kind of blowing Ash out of the water in most respects. 15-2 in qualifying, 13-4 in the races. Obviously we've seen Ash win the first round in Melbourne and then kind of disappeared into obscurity, had a wee bit of time where he wasn't racing at all, but yeah, Lee Finlay's just been really consistent, racing on the wheel tonight as well rather than his usual pad. So now that he's got 4th place wrapped up, no one can catch him in that one, so he is running a wheel here tonight I do believe. Jundu and Ruben's been an interesting one. Now they've not been here for every race, but Ruben it's been 6-6 in races, but it's been 8-4 to Ruben in qualifying. Jundu a lot closer than what we've seen in terms of the point standings there. Blizzard and Kiski joined around the same sort of time. It's 5-4 in both race and qualifying in favour of the Finn Kiski, and obviously he's got that 1 race victory in Singapore. Salba, H-Eagle, well, it's 12-4 in race and 11-5 in qualifying in favour of the H-Eagle and the 4-time race winner. Toro Rosso's quite an interesting one though. Cherry Tupai and Casper, 11-9 in favour of Casper in qualifying, so very close in qualifying, but in race conditions 17-3 to the young Dutchman. Big difference there when it comes to the race. And Jim Pasty and Nico, well, Nico beats him in qualifying 5-4, but in race conditions Jim Pasty 7-2, and that'll be down to the fact that Nico's had 7 DNFs since he joined the league in Canada, same as Ruben, same as Blizzard who joined at Canada as well, but the guy with most DNFs all season, and it's part of the reason why it was 17-3, is Cherry Tupai. 8 DNFs through the season. I'm sure he won't appreciate me saying that, but it is true, and those are the stats. We've had 5 races which have been affected in some way by wet weather as well. Not going to see that tonight obviously, but it's been a real fun season. For me obviously it's hard to overlook Sean being the champion as being probably one of the drivers of the season. Casper's been a complete standout for me, and I believe for Ollie as well. Blizzard, since he's come in, has shown some good pace. Kiski's had some good pace. Lee Finlay's improved as the season's gone on, much more consistent the second half of the season. The H-Eagle, if it hadn't been for those 2 races where he'd been away being on holiday, he'd probably been fighting it out, and the championship might not have been decided as early as it had been back in Austin. So there's been a lot of good drivers, and as we discussed a bit last week, me and Ollie, really looking forward to seeing who joins the league from next season, who comes down from F1, who comes up from F3, who stays on out of this tier as well. We've got a really good bunch in here, and I do think we could end up seeing one of the most competitive leagues in the in the whole of AOR possibly next season as well. There's a lot of drivers out here that are very close indeed. But we are back underway for qualifying. It's the 2 Renaults back at the top of the standings. Blizzard improves on his lap time that he put on pole position in the first lobby. He done a 1:33.0. He's now done a 1:32.9, so nearly half a second clear of his teammate Kiski. You've seen Cherry Tupai slowing down before the finish line. So he's currently in third. Jogler is in fourth in the Haas end. You got Lee Finlay coming through at the moment, completing his current latest lap time. Ash there coming through, and I agree with Ollie. I do think he's got a new helmet there. It looks quite bright. It's got the green, the red. I wonder if that's maybe linking up. So I do believe Ash has got some Lithuanian roots, so I do think it might be something to do with that. But it is definitely a very bright coloured in there to go with the papaya orange. He's just coming round to complete a lap. Here is Lee Finlay, winner last time out in Interlagos after a steward's decision. He goes third with his lap time there. Sean's in sixth place at the moment. Ash comes back into the pit lane after his lap, so he's decided he's not too happy with his lap time. Johan on a lap at the moment, and Jim Pasty coming towards the end of sector 3 just now. I'm sure Ollie will be pushing the whole points for Pasty movement again when he comes back. Vettel races out on track. We've got pretty much majority of the drivers out. Casper, Daniel, Ruben and the H-Eagle are still in the pits as well. Ashes came back in. Cherry Tupai's now back in, as is Kiski. So back into qualifying. Thank you very much for everyone sticking with us. We hope to bring you a fantastic race to finish the season off, and do stick around after the race as well. We're going to have some of the drivers come in, more than just the normal podium procession, the top 3, just for a bit of an end of season wrap up, so do stick around for the end of that as well. But Blizzard at the top at the moment, we're 1 minute 32.9, and I do believe that Ollie has returned from having his tea.
Yes, I would stick around if I was you. It's going to be one hell of a party. Andy now gets himself a bit of a respite as I returned from my supper.
All I'm going to say is, right, there ain't no party like a pasty party.
There is no party like a pasty party, because a pasty party don't stop. if he gets a podium tonight, then it will be momentous. There will be confetti, fireworks. The children of Spain will be singing.
And anyone with a mic and anyone with earphones will have bleeding ears because you'll be screaming at the top of your lungs. Yes,
it'll be. It'll just be like Brazilian football commentary. It will be heroic. But yeah, we're seeing the exact same traits at the moment, aren't we? From what we saw from the first session. Everyone's sandbagging. Nobody wants to show their cards a little bit too early. But 1-2 for runner at the moment would be a great start. I just want to question. Would maybe, just maybe, would Sean, for a bit of fun, want to start at the back?
Why not? It's the end of the season. Would be an interesting one indeed. Flying Finn in the chat, what is happening here? I think he's commenting on your Brazilian football commentary, possibly. We're having some fun here, Flying Finn. It's the end of the season, the championships are decided. We're just having a bit of a laugh and enjoying the fact that we've had a great season. I think it's fair to say it has been a really good season. What's been your standout, Ollie? I've just been going through in between the whole connection issues and you having your dinner on the stats that I picked up from through the season, but what's been your standouts? Give us those.
So the first one that springs to mind is Cherry Tupai qualifying pole in Canada and finishing 9th. That was a classic. Points for Pasty was quite heroic. Casper's performance in Italy was probably the most impressive individual drive to finish where he did. Germany, when Sean almost picked up a black flag worthy performance to get himself kicked out of the league. That was a bit of chaos. When H-Eagle overtook him in the championship for the first time. If I had to pick one, I'd probably go for Casper at Italy. I think that was a remarkable drive from an individual of his quality.
Definitely. So I still remember your reaction when he crossed the line and got promoted up on the penalties. You were absolutely beside yourself with joy. I think for me, we've had a lot of good races this season as Casper puts himself up in the 4th at the moment on track. But one that stands out to me that I remember was very early in the season, Bahrain, the 2nd race of the year, and we had Dawidos, Sean and I think it was Tactician. The top 3 were covered by a blanket over them, basically, fighting for about the majority of the race. It was an absolute barnstormer of a race. It was absolutely brilliant. And that sticks out to me as being a big moment in the season. Really good race. We've had a lot of good races, but that one does stick out because I do still remember that all the way back in September time, round number 2, and it still sticks in my mind. It was an absolutely phenomenal race, but I'm looking forward to more of the same next year, that's for sure.
Yeah, you got Canada. So you got China as well. When the wingman was first brought about, that's when Davidos was first called the wingman. After Sean may or may not have put him in his place, you could say. There's been some interesting moments. It's been a strange season because I feel like Sean's dominated, but he hasn't at points. It looks like Sean's dominated, and it feels like he has, because it feels like Sean has been at the top of the standings and clear of everyone on pace every single round. But he almost was his worst enemy and almost cost himself the chance to be in F1 next season, which would have probably been the worst feeling in the world. But he's battled through, he's got that spot, and it looks like we're going to end the season with Sean winning from Casper and the H-Eagle. It'd be nice if all three of them got on the podium as well.
It would be quite an ending there, although I'm sure the H-Eagle wants it to be the other way around with him at the top, because he needs to win, obviously, to gain second place. There's a 19-point gap, 25 points for first, 18 for second, so it's a pretty simple one for the Sauber driver, who is out at track at the moment coming through the final sector. It's win or bust basically for the German. You do wonder though what it could have been. Obviously everybody's got their own life, but obviously he missed 2 races, Japan and the USA being on holiday. How long could the championship maybe have gone if he had been there and got himself some good results? We could still have been talking about it all the way to now. We could still be in a championship battle maybe. You just never know. It's one of those things.
Yeah, if buts and maybes though, isn't it? It's like the old saying goes about aunties and uncles, and for me, I think Sean has just been consistently the best driver, and I think even the last few races, I'd say, ever since Sean picked up, when Sean had that race ban and H-Eagle took advantage, ever since then it's been Sean's way and no one else can get anywhere near him. He has been the top dog this season. I think Casper's come close to him at times, and I think if Casper would have had this form from the start of the season, then I think he would have really given him a good go. But Casper really only picked up pace for around about the halfway mark, really, didn't he? And that's when he started to really get going. I think Italy was his big turning point. I know he had good performances prior to that, but Italy felt like that was the moment when Casper finally sprung onto the scene and then started to pick up consistently good performances. But there's been a few drivers that I'd say that next season we could look at for champion contenders maybe. Obviously we've got new faces coming in, but Johan has been really impressive in the race that we've seen him obviously being. Tactician running on the pad. Imagine if he had a wheel, how competitive he could be. Ruben down in 14th at the moment, yet to set a time. Really, really competitive on his day and quick, and seems to lash that car into corners sometimes. And obviously Vettel as well, who is another driver who we've all, I think we can both agree, I've been a bit surprised by, because it just looks like he's got more pace than he often shows.
Definitely, it's been a weird one. I mean, Vettel as well. I mean, we were talking again, this is one of the other stats that I've not gone through yet. Fastest laps off the race. Vettel's got 4 fastest laps of the race. The man with the most is Lee Finlay on 5. Sean's only got 3. Casper doesn't have any. It just shows you that, you know, obviously some of the drivers will have maybe had some damage or decided to come in when they've got nothing to gain rather than going for a quick lap for a bit of glory. But it shows that obviously there is pace there from Vettel, and you just wonder, you know, Sauber, could he be really challenged Ferrari in the Constructors' Championship if both him and the H-Eagle could have scored the sort of points that Sean and Davidos were doing. So it is, a, you know, as you say, a lot of ifs and buts what could have happened. They obviously, the old saying is that F1 spelt backward is if, as Blizzard comes out of pit lane, I believe, there, and clumps the wall a little bit. So he'll be hoping, in fact it was Kiski, sorry, so he'll be hoping he didn't damage his wing there as you came up. Tricky pit lane to come out of as well, as you come under the track underneath turn 1 and come out at the exit of 2 and the start of turn 3. So I wonder if we'll see anyone bin it in there tonight.
It'll be a bit chaotic and a bit crazy if they did. It's one of them ones where you look at how narrow it is on screen, but in person, from what I've seen, it's actually very wide. It's like it is like a couple of lanes on a motorway. It's that these cars make everything look so small and insignificant. I remember when I went to Silverstone, going through the final few corners, especially down the Hangar Straight, and they make it look like there's no space in there at all. And then you go to the track and you feel like you're going on forever. And it's one of them weird sort of optical illusions. But we are now starting to see a lot of guys come and go in the pits. So we're going to keep a close eye on what tyres are fitted, because at the moment fitted wise, Lee Findlay, Kieski and Blizzard, your top three, all have the Hypersofts fitted with H-Eagle on the Super Soft tyres. Ultra Softs then for Dan, Daniel and Pasty. Vettel is on the Hypers. Ultras for Casper, Cherry, Joglar, Sean, Ash and Tactician, with the Super Softs going for Ruben, Johan. Ruben's just changed now, so they are all chopping and changing, so could be a little bit of bluffing. Just 3 minutes to go now in this session. Blizzard leads from Kieski and Lee Findlay, but something tells me it won't end that way.
Definitely not. I mean, the only drivers out on track at the moment is Kieski, who's just about to start a flying lap. We're watching him now. Tactician is out as well, but everyone else is still technically in pit lane. Shout out there in the chat, hello to S2V Danny. He's obviously shouting out for Ruben, his teammate tonight, and also he's joining in at the hashtag points for pasty movement as well. So you've got another one for the cause there, Ollie.
Well, it's going to be hashtag podium for Pasty tonight. I'm feeling it now. No matter what happens, we've won the Predictions Cup. It's coming home. 3 Lions on the shirt. We'll get Badil and Skinner in. We're going to make our own little remix for F2. And I can tell you now that Pasty is going to be the one to watch this afternoon. I'm expecting to start last and finish first. A glorious performance from the King.
Well, since you just mentioned 3 Lions, as long as nobody mentions Kazakhstan, I'll be happy. We'll leave that one well alone, though.
We'll keep the Hill Borat out of sight.
We're into the final 2 minutes of the session now, so the drivers are starting to peel onto the track. I wonder if someone's going to cross the line just a bit too late, because it's going to be very hectic. It's going to look like a Friday night round the M25 in just a minute at the end of this session. So Kieski has done the bit where he's gone out early enough to get himself track space before everyone else comes out. Will that work for him? He's coming through the final couple of sectors at the moment, going underneath the fantastic looking hotel that is situated here in the Yas Marina circuit location. I'm trying to figure out what I'm trying to say there, but there you go. And into the final corner he comes, currently in second, a 10th down on his teammate Blizzard. Can he improve? He does, but he's still 3/100ths down on Blizzard's time, so he's got time to go again. Yellow flags out in sectors 2 and 3, and you can see as we jump to the Daniel, you've got the Sauber, you've got a Toro Rosso, the Haas, you've got a McLaren in the background. It's going to get very, very busy. All 15 drivers are out on track with under a minute to go. This is going to be quite a fun end to qualifying, I think, for the end of the season. Let's have it.
Yeah, this is going to be good. I can hear you rubbing your hands together, and that's exactly it. It's anticipation. Every single car's out on track, and I think all of them are going to be able to set lap times. And round here as well, the cars can bunch up. I'm on board with Sean. He's coming up to the rear end of the Force India of Johan, and he's now also coming up to the rear end of it looks like a McLaren of Ash or Lee Findlay as well. So they're all starting to bunch up a little bit as they come through this final section. I'm going to keep a close eye on Sean, but there's a few people to keep a close eye on. Ruben could be a dark horse. Cherry and Casper normally like to rip out one in qualifying, as you mentioned, of course, earlier. Cherry having quite a few qualifying performances. Him and Casper, his teammate, of course, absolutely smashing it. Pasty's up in 6th. He's on the super soft tyres. He's the only guy out on track on the supers, with the top 3 all going out on the hyper softs. Lee Findlay, Kieski there has just cut a few corners to get across, but Kieski is out now. Kieski can't improve, so he won't get qualifying, and Blizzard, I think, is going to be the first one across the line, Andy.
Definitely. The checkered flag is now out, so anyone that's crossing the line now cannot complete the lap. They can complete the one they're on, they can't start a new one. Blizzard hanging the tail out, coming through the final couple of corners now, really wringing everything he can out of that yellow and black machine. Comes up to the line now. A 32.9 is his time. He does improve, but it was an invalidated time. You can see in the top right hand corner a 32.7 he did, I do believe. So he's going to be in pole position for the moment. Ruben's had enough. He's going to start from the back of the grid and try and do an absolutely heroic effort. Kieski's obviously invalidated. Who's next to cross the line as we run our way through the order? Jim Pasty crosses the line. He's only going to be 7th on the grid, so not great from him. Daniel's coming through. Cherry's up next. Thank you there, Ollie, coming through. Where is Cherry? He's missing. He's behind Daniel first. So here comes Dan. No improvement. So he's dropped out. Top 3. He's not happy. Sean up with for Tactician coming through at the moment. He's job.
I think Andy's mic has gone. I've just checked on the stream. I think Andy's mic has quickly jumped off. So apologies for that while that was going on. Blizzard has been able to hold on to the top step. Honestly, God, we've had all this qualifying, and then when it comes to the peak moment, Andy's mic has just gone into jip mode, you could call it. But Blizzard sets the fastest time. That time he set was quick enough, and I was going to say, I said earlier how Blizzard and Keyski probably wouldn't stay there. Nobody could match them. They were on the Hypersofts, mind you. They're 0.6 of a second. Casper is off Blizzard. It is a 1-2 for the Renault boys. Casper in third, ahead of Sean. H Eagle has an uphill climb if he wants to get into this. I think we've got Andy now. Andy, we've got bits of you, but you were jumping in and out, so we had to just quickly go in. You're back now. It's the most typical thing ever.
Yeah.
For a crazy and chaotic qualifying session that has the front two starting on the Hypersofts, and if that wasn't enough drama, the fact their teammates as well could throw a little spanner in the works. And got a quick shout out there. Look at them, both got A ratings there for the two Renaults who lead at the qualifying. It's Blizzard from Keyski with Casper and Sean in third and fourth. Then it's an all-Scottish row. Look at this here. It's the Dutch on the third and fourth, and an all-Scottish row. And in 5 and 6, Lee Findlay a bit more Scottish than Cherry Tupai. One's from Surrey, one's from the Highlands. Vettel is in 7th with Johan in 8th. Joglar in 9th. H Eagle in 10th, as I mentioned, a huge uphill climb, and he starts on the Super Softs as well. Not the greatest qualifying if he wants to get any opportunity of getting second in the championship. It's going to be interesting. Casper starting alongside Sean is going to be tasty, but with Cherry Tupai and Lee Findlay just behind, with the front two starting on the Hypersofts, I think this could be a very interesting race.
Definitely could be. I mean, I seen a comment from Casper earlier. He believes that Blizzard and Keyski are going to be two-stopping. So that's what he expects to be happening there. It'll be interesting. They need to obviously check out pretty quickly to do anything. But H Eagle obviously made it into the top 10 on the Super Soft, so going to try and run as long as possible. But he needs the victory, remember, if he wants any chance. In fact, it's the only chance that he needs. It's win or bust, as we say, for the German to take second place away from Casper to finish the season just behind Sean in the championship. So we've got a great race lined up, but Blizzard takes his first pole of the season, and that means we've now had 9 different pole position sitters this season out of 21 races. It's been absolutely brilliant, as we've said a few times. Let's run you through the order. You've got your top 10 obviously starting on the tyres they qualified on, and you've got Tactician and Daniel on the Super Softs, Jim Pasty and Ash on the Ultras, and Ruben on the Super Softs at the back of the field. So 9 pole sitters, 9 different winners. Can we make it a 10th different winner tonight? Could Blizzard finally get that victory that we've discussed about him possibly having at some point this season? Done well in a few races. Russia springs to mind, obviously. Can he finally get it across the line here tonight? What do you think, Ollie? Who's...
Well, I'm going to pick back Pasty as the one to watch, but if I'm going to say winners, I mean, Lee Findlay, how many rounds did it take him to pick up his first win? And he'd been up there pretty consistently. Casper and Sean already have wins, so too does Keyski, leaving Blizzard, Cherry. I don't think Vettel has a win, does he?
No.
No, so it would leave Cherry, Blizzard, Vettel, Johan, and Joglar as your most likely ones to pick up a win for the first time. So if I was going to say anyone, Cherry has got a good enough ability, and I think not being under pressure might actually do a favour. In all the times he's had chances, he's been leading from pole position, so he normally makes a silly mistake from there. Lee Findlay and Vettel all on the Hypersoft, and the Super Softs for the H Eagle, Tactician, Dan Daniel, and Ruben with the Ultra Softs for Pasty and Ash further down the field. Blizzard has a chance here, but the important factor that we have to take into consideration is the fact of his tyres. If Casper is right in the fact that he's expecting him to start and continue to do a two-stop in this Grand Prix, it's going to be a very difficult challenge if they want to complete it. For me, keep a close eye further down on the H Eagle starting in 10th. I think he could have a big part to play in this at some point.
Definitely so. The first runner on the Super Soft tyres as well. Big C in the chat shouting for Cameron, which is obviously Cherry Tupai. So you've got Porter in there, and you were just talking about him there. He's been in a winning position. He crossed the line first in Singapore. Penalties cost him the win to Keyski, who's obviously just up ahead in second place. Advanced Apple is shouting for Casper and has mentioned about my laggy mic. It's no one. I'm going to fix it. End of the season coming, thank goodness. So hopefully next season we don't have this problem, Ollie. That would be absolutely ideal. But here we go, coming up for the final time this season. A little bit later than normal due to the PSN issues, but we've 14 drivers on the grid for the start of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix at 2021 Season 16 of Apex Online Racing's Hype Energy Leagues. And we are underway in Abu Dhabi, and who's going to get the best start? We're looking here, Blizzard's able to hold on. Kiski is battling into turn 1, but he has to back out of it. We've got 3 wide behind between the Salba, the Haas going very wide off the track, but Blizzard has flew off the line ahead through turn 1 and into the lead. Casper's moved up to 3rd, Cherry's up to 4th, Sean in Lee Finlay there in 6th, and we've got cars coming down the back straight, fighting out. We've got go of McLaren off, that is Ash off the track there, and there's a Red Bull being a bit more jumpy than you'd like it to be as he comes through the hairpin for the first time, but Blizzard's managed to get the jump on everybody, and it is Kiski in 2nd, Casper for Cherry 2x4, so it's Renault, Toro Rosso, then we've got Sean and Lee 5th and 6th as they come down the back straight for the first time. No DRS yet, remember, 15 cars on the line. There's Tactician making a move. There's the Salby, the H-Eagle making a move as well. Tactician trying to get past Jim Pasty, not able to do so. Come down towards the 2nd DRS zone, again not in effect at the moment of course, but they're getting a good slipstream as they come down, and Ruben up to 10th place as Danny's just pointed out in the chat. Well spotted there as Tactician tries to go up the inside of Past, he can't do it. Daniel's going to try and sneak his way through up the inside of the Red Bull and does so, so that's a place made up there. It says Sean and Casper are a lap down, but that's completely absolutely wrong, we know that well. Coming up to the end of lap 1, and Blizzard is already out of DRS range from his teammate Kiski. Could the Finn maybe end up playing a bit of a rear gunner role, not in this race, and allow Blizzard to disappear as we complete lap 1?
Yeah, the animals go by 2 by 2, hurrah, as it's Renault, Toro Rosso, Casper getting an important start and jump ahead of Sean. Even though he was ahead of him, Sean could have easily got a manoeuvre considering the inside line. Cherry 2-Pie though getting past Sean at a rapid rate of knots, and the last time he swiped right that hard was when he was on Tinder and saw a very sexy young lady that he took his fancy, and he was swiping there and not letting Sean anywhere near the inside line to get past him. And Cherry 2-Pie defending bravely against Sean, but for how much longer? It's going to be a tough one. Casper though is all over the rear end of Kiski. He says he's a minute and 38 down, but I don't think that's anywhere near it. Kiski is going to have to defend like a brave old boy here if he wants to keep Casper behind him. We know Casper is very quick on the overtakes, but Kiski's starting to pull away, which gives me the distinct impression he may just be set up for straight line speed, which could be worrying. Further down, Sean has got past his old enemy in Cherry 2-Pie, but Cherry 2-Pie is going to potentially come back at him. Sean's got a little bit wavy there, allowing Cherry another opportunity, another crack at the whip. He's got the slipstream and no DRS of course at the moment, just slipstream and ERS available to him. He's just going to potentially be side by side. He thinks better of it and lets Sean have the play. Sean moves up into P4, the place he qualified. Just ahead of him now is Casper. This is an important battle. I was about to say before Cherry 2-Pie got overtaken there, that if he wants to win this Grand Prix, he can't have the nicey attitude he's had with Casper. They've obviously worked as a team to get second in the constructors and try and work together, and he's helped Casper a few times, but it seems like he needs to get his elbows out and really go for it. He could have gone for manoeuvre there on shore, but kind of wimped out of it. He just needs to be a bit more lethal.
Definitely so. We just seen there as well, Vettel Racer losing out to Joglar and nearly losing out to Johan as well as he came through the final sector. Paris is mentioning about the intervals. There's already been a PSN issue which was meant to restart, so we're a bit later than normal. Now the intervals have fixed themselves out thankfully, and they're back to where they should be, but I believe there's just been some issues tonight not helping us out, but they're back to normal now. Casper is right on the back of Kiski. DRS is now available to the Dutchman, and Kiski is 2 seconds now behind his teammate Blizzard. There goes Blizzard, and here comes Kiski through and onto the back straight now. How much battery has he saved up in that Renault? He's got a little bit there, but so does Casper as they come down the back straight. We're on board with the Dutchman. He's got the DRS open. I think he's going to just play it safe here and try and get a good run out of this corner. Oh, he nearly into the back of the diffuser there on the Renault. Hopefully no damage made, and now he needs a good run here down the 2nd DRS straight towards what, if I remember rightly, is turn 11. I've not got my map in front of me here tonight, that's what I'm prepared for here. Casper not able to do anything. It seems to be just sort of stagnating out a little bit, but further back it's definitely not, as Vettel Racer in the Hypersauce has to cut across the chicane in his battle with Jogler and then gets pushed wide onto the track as Jogler comes along. Johan's going to be really opportunistic and try and get past on Jogler, and behind there you got Vettel and Ruben going side by side through this triple right-hander. Vettel Racer holds on to that position, nearly thought about a move on Johan but backed out of it as we come to the end of lap 3, and once again, Ollie, the midfield is giving us an absolute scrap, because you can see there Jogler down to Tactician and 14th. 7 drivers are all pretty much in the one camera shot as they came towards the end of lap number 3.
Yeah, further up the field it's still pretty close. Cherry and Lee Findlay find themselves in somewhat of a no man's land, but still can be caught up if they don't keep it on the dime and just try and keep it tight to the guys ahead of him. Casper's in a bit of trouble though. If he can't get past Kiski, Sean right behind him, who is 0.6 of a second off him, we'll have the DRS, and we know that Sean is not scared of a late manoeuvre when it comes to these sort of Grand Prix. Casper needs to get it done now. He's going to have the slipstream and DRS available to him. It's the best opportunity he's had. Blizzard's gaining around about 3 to 4 tenths. Sorry, 3 to 4 tenths a sector there on Kiski. He's going to go for a mover here, but Kiski very late on the brakes, gets it done, but Casper now has the opportunity. A little bit of contact there, could have ended in tears for the Finn as he cuts across Casper there, but Casper now has a much better exit out of the chicane now as they're hunting him down. He's going to have the outside line, which in my opinion is the optimum line to have as it turns to an inside chicane. Casper's going to try and go the long way round. Kiski outbroke himself. This is going to get tight, and all this is doing is allowing Sean to get involved in the incidents as well. Here comes for me one of the undisputed great opportunity to get an overtake, because no one expects it. If you get close enough and you can go for a lunge, there's a sharp braking zone as well, just as you come into the hotel section, but Casper a little bit too far back. I've got to say, Kiski's defending has been a little bit questionable, but he's kept the place at the moment, and he's helping his teammate pull away from the two behind.
Definitely so, he's keeping it on the island at least at the moment, and that is allowing Blizzard to disappear up ahead. Meanwhile, down behind, Johan finally got past Jogler, who's now going to have to deal with Ruben coming up behind him at a moment, and as again you can see, there we go, so the Vettel Racer's heading for pit lane, so he is now into the pits, and he is the first driver we've seen, apart from Ash, who had damage on the first lap, having gone off track. He obviously had to go into the pit. Sean picking up a 3-second time penalty, that's been another consistent of the season as well. Really pushed the limits of the track, and it has cost him. He could easily have had about 9 victories, maybe even more than that, if it hadn't been for time penalties. Obviously he won on the track in Monaco, it got taken away by the stewards. Think of Mexico, think of USA, he was winning on the track there, lost out on penalties, so it's something that's caught him out a few times as Casper looks to the inside now on Kiski. Kiski sees it coming, gives him the space, and now side by side coming out of the corner. Now Casper's got a much better exit. Those Hypersoft tyres in the Renault will probably be screaming in agony. They've done about 5 race laps plus the qualifying. Pulls onto the racing line, and he's finally got the move done, but he's outbraked himself. That's going to put himself out of position through this chicane section there, but Kiski's not able to do anything, and now Casper needs the sector and a half of his life because he wants to pull away from Sean. Well, Sean can't get by Kiski. Casper needs to get an absolute move on really quickly. Blizzard is nearly 5 seconds up the road, and we'll expect to see him in the pit lane before long as well, because his Hypersauce will surely be about to cry enough as well. Further back, Johan's managed to pull a gap on Jogler. He's now out of DRS, so that's good for the Force India, and Ruben and Jogler have pulled away from the H-Eagle behind. Kiski has come into pit lane from 3rd position, so that's released Sean. That's not what Casper needed as he comes through pit lane, and across the line we go to start lap 6 of this race. 28 laps, 6 are in the books already. Blizzard leads, Casper in 2nd, Sean in 3rd, Cherry Tupai and Lee Finlay round out the top 5. Then it's Johan, Jogler, Ruben, the H-Eagle and Daniel rounding out the top. Pasty trying to push the for Pasty movement. He's just outside at the moment in 11th place.
Yeah, that's a little bit annoying for Casper, but he is starting to pull away slightly as Sean. I don't think he hasn't got DRS, Sean, so he is okay at the moment, Casper. He's got around about 1 second gap. If he can keep it there nice and calm and nice and consistent, then he should be okay. Kiski pitting is kind of threw a spanner into the works there of Casper's attempts to try and to get himself into the leaders Grand Prix. Blizzard is being reeled in now by Casper, Sean and Co at quite a rapid rate of knots, so Kiski's work has gone down an absolute treat, but he's probably going to lose about a second by the end of this lap. If Blizzard stays out any longer, it's almost suicidal. Further down the field, you mentioned that midfield battle. It's getting really, really intense. I'm just looking at the Sauber of H-Eagle, who'll be pretty disappointed of where he is at the moment, because he needs to be much higher up here, and his season has kind of been the opposite to Casper, you could say, Andy. He started off really well and up there as a championship contender, and then has dropped off in the second half, whereas Casper has gone from mediocre performances at kind of the higher level points to low level points to picking up regular podiums and being one of the quickest out there. So a real polar opposite, and it looks like, sadly for H-Eagle, it's going to be third in the championship, and not what he wanted, considering he went into it hoping he could maybe win the season and win this championship. But further up the field, Blizzard has darted into the pits. Ruben, Joglar, H-Eagle, Dan Daniel are very, very tight, and they're probably going to create the best action on track. For Blizzard, though, he's pitted nice and early. He's gone onto the ultra soft tyres, which gives me the distinct impression he's two-stopping.
Got to be two-stopping. We're going to end up doing what Lee did last week in Interlagos and get a puncture before the end of the race. So that looks like, and Kiski's done the same as well, so you've got to think they are going to be two-stopping and trying to work their way through the field as quick as they can. Sean is within DRS range, but just and only just. We did see Ruben get past Joglar on the stream, where we're keeping an eye on that midfield battle. Joglar has now got the H-Eagle behind him. I see what could have been for the H-Eagle. Obviously had a couple of weeks missed with being on holiday. He could have been right up there. Cutley iffy performances, he had some great results. Silverstone, he was absolutely on the money, remember, in the rain. But you know, it's the case of what could have been here for a lot of them in the chat. A wee yo from Leclerc, who was obviously a reserve driver for us earlier on in the season, as the H-Eagle goes up the inside of Joglar and locks the brakes up, gets the move done, or does he? Because Joglar's going to be very opportunistic, get through, and look, there's Daniel free wide into the corner. It's not going to stick, surely. They've all kept it together on the track, and H-Eagle still trying to make this overtake happen through the triple right-hander onto the brakes. Who's going to come out the other side on top? A little bit of wheel banging, H-Eagle nearly in the wall, it looked like, got it back together, pushed wide off the track, got a horrible camera angle there. Joglar pulls in front and holds on. That went on for about, what, 6 corners there? That was brilliant stuff going on there, but Joglar holds now from the H-Eagle for 7th place, but H-Eagle really want to be letting a move on. He's on those super soft tyres, but he's already 11, nearly 12 seconds behind the leaders. Meanwhile, in the background, you just seen Blizzard there getting past on Tactician. There's a yellow flag out in sector 3 somewhere, which is Ash, who's been facing the wrong way. 13 on the car is unlucky tonight, and he's already made a pit stop from the back of the field. He's coming into pit lane again, and I get the feeling he's going to DNF and retire that car into the garage, I do believe, in just a moment's time. So that'll be our first DNF off the race. Lee Finley still out there though on a Hypersoft tyres in 4th place. I'm surprised he's made them last that long.
Yeah, here comes the H-Eagle on Joglar. He's going to try and make it stick this time. Questionable defending from Joglar, getting his elbows out, which is what we like to see. Dan Daniel's gone on to his teammate in the Haas just behind as the H-Eagle got past, and he's really getting his dive bombing skills out on display. He's really trying to show what he's capable of. The H-Eagle looks like he's going to keep the place thanks to the help of the Joglar's teammate there. Here comes Dan Daniel. Is he going to be late on the brakes? Of course he is. He loves a last-minute manoeuvre. In fact, no, he backs out of it, keeps it clean, but this is a great little scrap. Here comes Dan Daniel. He's got the little switchback. He's got more momentum than his teammate. Later on the brakes, a little front-left lock-up. He's got the place done, but his teammate's going to stick it side by side as they come through this triple right-hander. Turkey-esque, you could say. Dan Daniel, though, is very good on his brakes, I've got to say. He seems to be able to manage them brakes and keep the coolant in them at a nice, consistent level, and is so much later than Joglar, who is really feeling the effects of the attacks behind him. Here comes Blizzard now, who's going to try and make it a misery compiler. Blizzard backs out of there, thinking Joglar might dive into the pits, but Blizzard almost pushing him through the final corner. He's going to get past him down the start-finish straight, and poor Joglar's had a lap from hell.
Definitely so, dropping down a number of places there is Joglar on those ultra soft tyres, and he's just dropping the drop back. He's now on the 10th place in the final point as Blizzard tries to make his way back up through the field. Johan has just sneaked his way past Lee Finley. I was just about to jump between that and that battle for the midfield. Lee's tyres must be going off on the hypers, and you can see Rubens closed right onto the back. Blizzard sneaked up the inside of the hairpin at turn 6 before the DRS point there on Dan Daniel. Daniel having absolutely none of it though, got the elbows back out, but both of them have DRS towards turn number 7, and the Renault's going to hold on to that position for now. Blizzard driving as aggressively as he can do. He needs to, because if he is on a two-stop strategy, he needs to make up as many places as quick as he can to make that strategy work. He's going to be really quick at the end of the race if that's the case, obviously, but we need to keep an eye on his progress. He's now onto the back of the H-Eagle, who's on those super soft tyres, but shout to Ruben though, up at the moment in 6th place, right onto the back of Lee Finlay. 9 places gained, sorry, make that 10 places possibly here, because he's up the inside of Lee. Oh, he's spun it sideways, held onto it though, but he's made 9 places up from the start. Started last in the grid in 15th on the super soft tyres, the hardest compound available tonight, and he's up to 6th place already. Biggest loser at the moment is Kiski, down 11 places from his starting place. Lee Finlay into pit lane to get rid of those hypers. He's managed to make them last 10 laps in the race plus qualifying, so that's a pretty meteoric effort. And Blizzard up the inside of the H-Eagle into turn 1. That was a pretty bread and butter move, that one. I doubt H-Eagle fought that. He probably knows that Blizzard is much quicker at this point on fresher tyres. Lap 10 of 28, Casper still leads by about 8/10 of a second from Sean, with Cherry Tupai in third, but Johan starting to catch up to them in 4th place.
Yeah, Blizzard is taking no prisoners at the moment, and he is absolutely flying, and potentially has a chance of still getting a podium this afternoon. Maybe even a race win if he can make them tyres last. I'd be surprised if they do. Normally your best indication is to look at the guys who started in the Ultras to see whereabouts they are on pace and how their tyres are going, and they seem to be dropping off slightly, especially the super soft runners, so I can't imagine the ultra softs are feeling much nicer compared. So around about 11-12 laps I'm expecting them to make it on the ultras. Casper and Sean up ahead. Sean is really keeping Casper keen and not letting him have an easy day out, and this is what we want to see, the top 2 drivers in the league performing and battling with each other. Further down, Lee Findlay and Vettel going side by side around the outside. Can Lee Findlay make it stick? And Vettel's really getting his elbows out. Who's on a little bit older tyres compared, but they'll be much warmer compared to him as well. Lee Findlay, someone who loves a good dive bomb and loves a late braking manoeuvre. It's got him into a bit of trouble in the past, but it got him a race win last time out. He's going to sweep down the outside of Vettel, and there's nothing the German can do in that Sauber. He has to succeed 13th place as the pit stops are still going underway. Sean is the first of the top 2 to come into the pits on lap 10 of 28, or technically the end of lap 9, entering lap 10. Cherry has also come into the pit, so he's reacted to the fact his teammates staying out. Sean has not been held up by the Toro Rosso's teammates in Cherry Tupai, and they're all going to slowly start to find and filter their way through. Blizzard's promoted back up into a podium place in 3rd, but it could well change dramatically. A lot of guys coming into the pits. Things are now starting to heat up a little bit. The close battle to keep an eye on is how Casper and Sean react. Will Sean be able to get the undercut on him? Will his tyres heat up in time, or will Casper be okay? I'm just looking. The mighty one Pasty has come out ahead of Sean. There's a bit of traffic ahead of Sean, which could hinder him, and he goes for the undercut.
Definitely so. He needs to get a move on. The gap to Casper is 20 seconds at the moment. That's just about how long it'll take for a pit stop if you don't get the exit underneath turn 1 right. But here comes Sean under DRS. This should be an easy move for the Ferrari under DRS, and yet we can't even see the Williams anymore with that camera angle, although Pasty nearly goes into the back of our 2016 champions. But Sean is through. Blizzard meanwhile on his fight back through the field with his 2-stop strategy that we believe he's on now. Got past Ruben and up into 3rd place. Well, we've seen Lee Finlay going by on Vettel Racer. H-Eagle lost out to Daniel as well last lap, round 2, so not a good lap last time by for the Saubers on the super softs. Vettel has pitted, H-Eagle has not yet, so it means at the moment in terms of pit stops, Casper's obviously not came into the pits yet, neither has Ruben, Daniel, H-Eagle, Tactician or Jim Pasty, but the majority of them started as Casper's in now for his stop on the Ultra Softs. The rest of them, apart from Jim Pasty, started on the Super Soft, so I don't expect to see them in for about another 5, maybe another 5 laps or so before we see the Super Soft runners. And Blizzard now is back into the lead of this race, and this is the point now. To make his strategy work, he needs to stretch his legs and get a move on very, very quickly indeed. His gap, I want to check, is to Casper, who's came out behind Sean, and both of them behind Tactician, as you see Sean just passing Tactician there into the chicane. So Sean might be behind Jim Pasty, and that is a move for the prospective lead of the race pretty much once all the pit stops come into effect, although Kiski's up there in 5th at the moment, but we do believe he'll be stopping twice like his teammates. So Casper out behind Sean there in the undercut, proving a bit more powerful than the overcut there, so it was better for Sean and he's made it work as Casper easily goes past Tactician, can't even speak.
Yeah, close between the two of them. It doesn't look like Sean has pulled away too much, so if Casper can get a good run, how important will that extra lap of tyre wear though be for them? Will it play into effect? Quick note for Blizzard, he'll probably be in the pits within about around about 5 laps, so we'll keep a close eye on where he's going to emerge from as well on his ultra soft tyres, because around about 10 to 11 laps is how long them guys lasted. I can't imagine Blizzard is going to make it to the Grand Prix. It'll be one hell of a monumental effort. Big side note here as well, Sean and Casper coming onto the rear end of the H-Eagle. He's got Kiski and Daniel ahead of him, so the top 3 in the championship, 5, 6 and 7, so this is almost all but confirming at the moment that the H-Eagle will not be taking second in the championship away from Casper, who's putting in a very good performance and hunting down his fellow Dutchman at the moment, Sean, for 5th place, which will be a net lead of the Grand Prix once everyone ahead of him comes into the pits again. Further down, Cherry 2 Pie has been a big loser in that pit stop stage, it seems. He's dropped down a little bit. You see, look at the gap home that hit Casper has to Cherry 2 Pie, based on the fact where Tactician is as well. So he looks like he's dropped behind slightly. He's got Lee Finley, Johan behind him. I'm not too sure. I think Cherry 2 Pie could well be on for a race fixture, a podium here, which would be an impressive feat for him. He's not really had the best consistency all season long. He's kind of in the shadow of his Dutch teammate. Here comes Casper then on Sean. This is to take back the net lead of the Grand Prix, and this is something Sean has been unable to do, which was gain the slipstream and get momentum to go past Casper. He's going to squeeze him out there, Casper, try and make Sean go as wide as possible. When he's got past him and swooped round him up the inside, lovely manoeuvre there from Casper. But here comes Sean. He's got more momentum and a better exit out of the corner. Casper takes the inside line, which we've seen previously is a much superior line to have, because Sean is now swooping around the outside. He's got track position, he's got the place. Can he get it slowed down? Yes, he can. So Sean and Casper chopping and changing places here for a potential race victory.
Definitely go up ahead. Kiski has managed to get past Daniel, another move that he has to do if he is to stop. And a bit to look out for as well, anyone that's not pitted. So obviously Ruben, Daniel, the H-Eagle have still not to pit yet, neither has Tactician, and we expect Blizzard and Kiski to be 2-stopping. Around about 20 seconds roughly, 20-21 seconds for a pit stop from entrance to exit. It'll bring you out down in 12th place, maybe even behind Vettel in 13th at the moment, alongside him and Jogler. So it's still very closely bunched here, even though we're 14 laps into the race and we've seen the first round worth of pit stops for those that are 1-stopping and for the 2 Reynolds that we believe are 2-stopping. So this is going to be a fun race come to the end. Obviously we started under the sunset, it's now transitioned into the full night round here at the Yas Marina circuit, and Sean is now onto the back of H-Eagle, so your top 3 championship protagonists are all in the one section of track right now. H-Eagle would really like to have been ahead of Sean in the championship, but it is the Ferrari driver, it is your season 16 F2 champ, and he's got DRS and he's closing in on the Salba, up the inside, onto the brakes. He's got fresh rubber as well. Pretty easy to do, and he has made the move. Casper got pretty close to the back of that Salba though, and it's now his turn to try and make a move now on the back of the H-Eagle. The H-Eagle though does have DRS to assist him down towards this corner. Does Casper fancy going up the inside late? He is going to do so very late indeed. Gets the move done. Little bit of a front wheel to rear wheel bump there between the two of them, but he's got the move done. Casper knew he had to do that if he wants to keep up with Sean, because through this section there's not really anywhere you can pass. So Casper seeks through, and he is now back onto the back of Sean's Ferrari. Cherry 2 Pie has got free on Tactician, obviously the Toro Rosso with fresher tyres than the Red Bull. That's over 8th and 9th. Johan rounds out the top 10, but it's a Renault 1-2 up front at the moment. Blizzard leads from Kiski in second. That is Blizzard going through turn 1, Kiski just coming through turn 1 now. You see Ruben there, German Grand Prix. He's got Daniel in behind him. Ruben and Daniel have still to pit, having started on the super soft tyres outside of the top 10, but the closest battle on the track at the moment is between Casper and Sean, although Joglar is getting pretty close to the back of Vettel Race, so I'll keep an eye to jump to that maybe as well. But Casper and Sean are coming up to the DRS zone, heading down at the exit of turn 6 towards turn 7, and you can see they've closed up to the back of those ahead as well. Sean's going to have DRS as well, I do believe. No, he doesn't actually, but he will do down the back straight the second. Now, Casper, can he get close enough? No, he cannot. He looks much better on the brakes, so does Casper. He's getting very close to the back of the cars in front, under braking into turn number 7. And you just think he might just fancy a move, and if he does, he's going to probably get through, as Johan has sneaked through on Tactician, who's really struggling on those tyres now, down in 10th place. Tactician still to pit at the moment. Able to do anything to close up Sean down that back straight, has to pull back in and wait for another lap. Meanwhile, Joglar onto the back of Vettel Racer, coming down towards the second DRS on the end of it. He's going to go the long way round. Salba's going to squeeze him, but gives him some room as well. A little bit of a bump. That's a nice move though, in my opinion, by Joglar. Took the outside line. Vettel Racer gave him the space, but the Haas with fresher tyres is through and up into 12th position. That was a pretty good move in my opinion, that from Joglar. Nice to see.
Yeah, further up the field, Sean and Casper have now got Dan Daniel and Ruben in their sights, and Dan Daniel is in his own little world trying to get the manoeuvre done on Ruben, both on the same amount of tyres, both on the elongated strategy on them super soft compound, the red stripe super soft. Ruben in this battle though could play into the favour and the hand of Casper, who might just be able to take advantage of Sean and getting involved and held up maybe. Look how close they are. Sean going for a late lunge up the inside and has pushed the Haas out of the way, and for me that's a bit naughty from Sean. I won't lie, I feel like that's a little bit unneeded, but this might be a bit of karma because Dan Daniel has got more momentum, slipstream and DRS, and he is not going to be a happy bunny. If he's going to go for a manoeuvre here, fair play to Dan Daniel, get them elbows out, fella. Sean's going for another lunge here on Ruben, and he's pushing him through. Casper's trying to go around the outside, and Casper's got here as well. And yeah, poor Dan Daniel has been absolutely swarmed there, and I think Sean needs to maybe answer some questions, because that's just caused a bit of a tail effect. And here comes Sean and Ruben. If he goes for the lunge here, he has done from far back, and he's going to go into the side pod of Ruben. And for the second time now, Sean has just gone for a really unneeded and unwarranted move, and Casper behind as well is getting involved and trying to take advantage of Sean. But Sean is looking very, very desperate as he hunts down the Mercedes ahead of him. Is he going to go for another late lunge here? No, he thinks better of it. But Sean there definitely needs to have some questions answered, because that seemed a little bit naughty from my point of view.
Yeah, getting into touring car territory, nearly there with the wheel bumping between them. Inside into turn 6, and Daniel, who is obviously struggling with tyres. Ruben has bailed out into pit lane, so he's had enough of those super softs. Kiski's into the pits for his second stop, so the Renaults do look like they are two stopping. So that puts Sean into second and Casper on his tail in third. Daniel is holding on just about to these two, but I think through this section here where it's all about the grip, he's going to lose a few tenths as they come down towards turn 4 and 5, and the hairpin at turn 6 one more time. But Kiski, where is he going to come back out on a fresh set of ultra soft tyres? Just keeping an eye there. He comes back out, I believe he's in 8th place ahead of Joglar, so that's not too bad from the Renault. He could still make up time. He is 24 seconds down, but we've still got what, 12 laps including the one we're on? Well, you never know. That could there. Blizzard I expect to be in the pits before long. Where would he come back out? 9 seconds clear. He should come out around about the same place as his teammate, maybe even ahead of Lee Finlay. So the Reynolds aren't out of this one yet. This is going to be a great finish to what has been an absolutely fantastic season here on Apex Online Racing's F1 2018 League with Hype Energy Drinks. It's round 21, it's Abu Dhabi. We've got only 7 laps to go. This time by it's Blizzard by 9.2 seconds from the battle you see on screen between Sean and Casper in the Ferrari and the Toro Rosso as they go under the hotel here at the Yas Marina circuit. And Blizzard with a 3-second time penalty, and those things, that penalties again, they'll come into effect at the end of this race. They have done on a lot of races this year, and it's quite possible they might do one more time. Blizzard in the pits.
Yeah, I was going to say Blizzard needs to dart into the pits now if he wants to make this extra tyre strategy last. Really, Cherry 2 Pie is the one he's targeting for that final podium place, and I think he might be able to do it if he goes under a fresh set of ultra soft tyres, which he has done. So he's not coming out too far behind Leaf. In fact, if he's just going to be ahead of Leaf Findlay, which will be quite impressive and important here. Leaf Findlay's going to come out and see that Renault, and that's vital. So it's 3.4 seconds to Johan, and then an extra 2.8 to Cherry 2 Pie, but the pace he shows, 10 laps to go. He has got an extra penalty, so if Cherry 2 Pie picks up a time penalty, which he hasn't done so at the moment, it will be a podium for Blizzard, but I think he's got the pace, and he's shown a lot of aggression this afternoon for the first time in a very long time. That he can really get that move done. Casper and Sean. Casper's just clipped the rear end of Sean there as he's pushing him through. Sean could have a bit of karma here if Casper can get past him. If I was Casper, I'd give him a bit of his own medicine and go for a late lunge and a late manoeuvre. Sean will be questioned about that in the post-race interview because it feels a little bit cheap and a little bit naughty that he's forced this, and he may well have just been picking up a win because of a little bit of dirty driving. He's never unapologetic, Sean, but maybe, just maybe, his own ego could be coming and biting him. Maybe, I mean, just got to put this out, Andy, maybe next season could be a massive reality check for him. Maybe he'll realise when he's with the big boys that he's just a big fish in a small pond here, but he is a large fish in an even larger ocean up there.
Definitely so. I mean, he was racing on Thursday night in the esports team event, and I think he finished just inside the top 10 possibly. I didn't catch the end of the race personally, but he wasn't up towards the top end the standings in that race, and there was quite a few drivers in there that race in the top tiers as well, so as you say, it could be one off for a reality check. As you say, Blizzard has all gone from pits 10 seconds behind. He's already now got it down to 8.4 to the leaders as Kiski sets the fastest lap, but of course he needs to add 3 seconds to that as well. Keep an eye on Blizzard towards the end of this race. He is absolutely flying. Kiski is right on the back of Lee Finlay. Ruben has just sneaked up the inside, just caught the end there, up the inside there, a Joglar on the fresh ultra sauce, and the Renault it's just got through on Lee as well, so Kiski now up to 6th place, and Blizzard has got DRS on Johan, who's going to be looking a bit defenceless here, coming down towards turn number 7, and Blizzard is on a charge. The Renaults have got the freshest tyres out there pretty much. They've done 2 stops, they've set it up that way, and Blizzard now, can he do anything coming out of turn 8 through the curve of turn 9 towards turn 10? Excuse me, he's right in the slipstream of the Force India. He's going to get the move done pretty easily, I do think. Up the inside, DRS assisted. Johan backs out of it, but it looks already back up to 4th place after the second stop. Next target is Cherry 2 Pie, who's 3 seconds up the road, and there's only 3 seconds between Cherry and the 2 leaders, who are still nose to tail as they go one more time underneath the hotel to come to the end of lap 19, about to start the 20th lap of this race. We've still got 14 runners. The only retirement is Ash, who went off track on lap 1, had to pit early and then had another spin later on and decided to call it a day instead to what has been a pretty dismal season for the McLaren driver. Blizzard, fastest lap of the race, a 1:36.2. That Renault is absolutely on fire at the moment. He's already taken about a second out of Cherry 2 Pie in about half a lap. That's incredible pace.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting this sort of pace. That's why I was a little bit worried if he'd catch Cherry, but he is absolutely flying when he's got a bit of clear air ahead of him. And I think looking at Sean and Casper, he's going to find himself onto the rear end of them two very, very quickly, because they are chopping and changing and not really letting the other one get away. Casper is hunting down Sean, but never looks likely to get the manoeuvre done. He's got a good run here. Sean goes defensive on the inside. Casper later on the brakes. Can he stick it around the outside? This is the closest he's been. He's going to have the inside line. Sean's going to have to slot in behind, and Casper gets it done around the outside. Commentators curse, not on the side there of Sean. Here comes Casper defending. Sean's taking the inside line. He's got the momentum. He's got the slipstream. Is Casper going to get the manoeuvre done though and hold on to the place? No, he's not. Slots in behind Sean. And Sean holds on to the place there and leads the race once again, but look how close Cherry 2 Pie is now behind. 2.6. He's gained around about 0.8 of a second there, and Blizzard is right onto his rear end as well. So Blizzard is probably now, if I'm honest, the favourite to win this race, but the side note that has to be mentioned, Sean and Casper are not easy to overtake. I'm imagining a jubilant Blizzard if he wins this Grand Prix. He's always full of high energy and full of words. I'm imagining he's going to be full of excitement if he wins this, but he's only 0.8 to Cherry 2 Pie, so that's probably that'll keep a close arm, because by the time they get down to that back straight, he'll be right up Cherry 2 Pie's gearbox.
Definitely so. I mean, the gap now between the leader and Blizzard is 3 seconds. In fact, you can see them there in the main straightaway. Blizzard can see his first victory in AOR in sight. Lap 21 of 28. You've just seen a move as well. While Ollie was talking, between Daniel going round the outside, his teammate Joglar in the Haas at the end of the second DRS. So nice move that looked like from Daniel on those fresher tyres. And the H-Eagle now has just sneaked by the Haas driver as well. The Joglar not liking those super soft tyres. Where is Casper? He's right behind Sean, and Blizzard's in DRS range as well now of Cherry 2 Pie, so keep an eye out. Does the Toro Rosso make a move on the Ferrari? He's going to the outside. You can see Blizzard's made his way through on Cherry behind, so the Renault's now up to 3rd place. Oh, there's contact and Sean spun around. There's a touch there between Casper and Sean, and it spun the Ferrari round. Where is he? He's back on track now. And, well, Ollie, do you think that maybe a wee bit of a karma possibly there from Casper?
Well, I was watching Cherry 2 Pie and Blizzard, and I saw it from their point of view, and I don't want to say karma chameleon, but I would say that it's come and gone. It has come and gone, and Sean has felt the wrath of the karma chameleon. And yeah, I think it is. Let's be completely honest with you. If you're going to dish it out and you're going to go for dive bombs and you're going to get your elbows out and strut around, then you have to accept sometimes you're not going to get your own way. And it's a shame for Sean, but I still think I don't think he's got any damage, but I still think he can probably gain onto the rear end of Cherry 2 Pie and get a podium. Still, but it's really made this interesting. Casper, Blizzard and Cherry, look how close them three are now. Mostly Blizzard and Casper. Cherry's starting to drop off a little bit, but Johan isn't too far behind Sean as well, and then Kiski as well is coming at a rapid rate of knots. I'm not too sure who's going to be on the podium here. Could we have both Renaults on the podium? It's close enough to be a potential opportunity here, but Blizzard is really close to Casper as they come through the first section. I think Blizzard's going to get this done. He then needs to pull out that 3-second gap to Casper if he wants to win this Grand Prix. He's got enough laps to do so, but then Ultrasofts do drop off quite dramatically. They don't have much of a lifespan in them. He's got 6 laps of them optimum, and then they're going to be dropping off at the end of the Grand Prix. He needs to get this manoeuvre done nice and early. Slipstream and DRS will be available to him, and he'll rip up the energy recovery system as well. Casper goes defensive on the inside line. Blizzard does a quick little shift, high speed manoeuvring, and there between the two of them. Blizzard later on the brakes. Casper subcedes the place, and that is Blizzard leading the Grand Prix, and he is now on track to win his very first AOR F2 Grand Prix. Nothing Casper can do. Cherry 2 Pie is behind these two as well, and Sean looks to be struggling a little bit, so maybe, just maybe, he'll be off the podium, and he will not be happy about that.
Now remember, obviously he's got at least a 3-second time penalty. It was a good lap there for Renault though. Blizzard up into 1st, and Kiski got past Johan up to 5th. He's now chasing down the back of that scarlet red Ferrari. He wants 4th place. He maybe fancies a sniff at getting a podium as well, as we're coming into the final 5 or so laps now. We're coming on to lap 23 in just a moment. Blizzard leads on 4 lap fresh ultra soft tyres from Casper, and he's already got himself out of DRS range. Cherry 2 Pie in 2nd, Sean in 3rd, Kiski right behind the champion in 5th place, and again that Renault's on fresh tyres as well, having pitted a lap before his teammate. Johan trying to keep up with him in 6th but unable to do so. Ruben in 7th, Daniel in 8th, having a good battle with Lee Finlay as I was jumping back and forward between them. We've seen him going by into turn 1. Lee Finlay down to 9th. Those super softs probably getting towards the end of their life. H-Eagle at the opposite end of the point, so where he needs to be, he's going to pick up 1 point when he needed to be in 1st place. Not 1 point, he needed 25. Not good for him. Joglar in 11th, Vettel Racer into pit lane. He's going to put on a set of hypers and go for another fastest lap of the race. He's got 4 of them this season already. Lee Finlay's got the most on 5, so Vettel's wanting another one, and that puts him down to 14th and last at the moment. It puts Jim Pasty up to 13th. No podium or points for Pasty as Kiski dives up the inside of Sean much later on the brakes, much more grip on those ultra soft tyres. Pretty easy move. Sean actually gave him the space there, but now the Ferrari is going to have the DRS down towards the next corner, and you can see that it's closing in. Can he do anything? He's gaining. Kiski's going to the inside. He's going to squeeze him as much as he can, and he keeps the inside line there. Really aggressive defending, but he kept to 1 line. He did not make a move across that line, and he held the position on, and that's Kiski up to 4th. And I get the feeling on those fresher tyres cars. He might just be able to pull far enough away from Sean to avoid a retaliation attack from the Dutchman behind. We're coming on to lap 24 at 28. If you have stuck with us through all the issues we've had tonight with PSN network issues and all of that, thank you very much. And do drop in A, your driver of this race, and B, your driver of the season. It doesn't necessarily need to be the champion, of course. It could be someone who's really impressed you if you've been watching along all season. So I want a driver of the race and I want a driver of the season if you're watching along before the end of this race. Lap 24 to 28, Blizzard leads and he's nearly 3 seconds clear, which is good considering that penalty he's got.
Yeah, it really is. He's just 2 tenths away from securing that lead. If he picks up another 3-second time penalty, then he's really put himself in the doghouse. Kieski is gaining on Cherry 2.5 very, very quickly, with Sean not too far behind. He could maybe use Kieski here and his pace to try and gain onto Cherry 2.5, which would be a smart tactic here from Sean. He's got no chance of really getting past Kieski. I'd imagine there's 3 seconds from Blizzard to Casper, so Blizzard is now comfortably going to win this Grand Prix if he can make sure he just maintains the gap, which I'd imagine he's going to do it and build on very shortly. Cherry 2.5 is dropping back from Casper. Also, further down, you mentioned about driver of the day and driver of the season. Well, driver of the day is probably going to be Blizzard with the way he's going, but driver of the season is undisputed, really. It's, of course, Jim Pasty. He has been superior to everyone out on that grid, and he is the true champion. He is the commentator's champion of the season. Up there with CSR Hamilton, I would say. Definitely between them two for driver of the season. I believe Andy's mic has gone into a bit of a jip mode again. Apologies for that. Yeah. Oh, wait, no, Andy.
Is it working?
There we go. Yeah.
Good.
The second you went, it fixed itself. So there we go.
Oh, maybe
back.
that's what I need to do. Perfect. Sean's came into pit lane, so he's just probably going for the fastest lap now. Oh, Johan's had a big moment there. Where is the Force India? Where is that Force India disappeared to? Where is he? He went sideways. There he is. Right. Yeah. I thought I couldn't find him there. I was losing position there, but he had a massive sideways moment there coming out the final corner. Just seen a flash of pink.
Kieski on Cherry 2.5.
Flying, yeah.
Kieski has already got to the rear end of Cherry 2.5. How has he done that?
He's flying along. Those Reynolds, the 2 stops have been really good tonight. And they've really got the pace for it as well. That's what's made it work. So we could see a double Renault podium. Look in the background, Daniel's onto the back of Ruben as well. We've seen the H-Eagle make a move on Lee Finlay also. But yeah, you mentioned Jim Pasty, the commentator's driver of the season, obviously. He never took the sandbags off. That's why he's all down in 13th. That's what's happened there. He's done a Mercedes in pre-season testing and forgot to take them off. That's what's happened. But yeah, coming towards the end, for me, Sean's obviously, if we're talking drivers of the season, obviously Sean's been, you know, he's a champion for a reason. He has been very consistent, very aggressive at times, sometimes maybe a bit over aggressive, as I need to jump up because Kieski and Cherry 2.5 are going side by side coming out of the chicane section there. I was watching because I thought Daniel was a lot closer to Ruben than Kieski was, but that Reynolds flew up to the back of that Toro Rosso. He's not going to go side by side through here. That's going to be a brave move. Oh, he's got it done as well. Unbelievable. Wow.
That was simply stunning. The way that Cherry 2.5 completely cut off the line and he said, no, I'm going through here whether you like it or not. And they bashed wheels through the entirety of that corner. Fair play to Kieski. He deserves a podium if he's putting out moves like that. But for Cherry 2.5, oh, Cherry 2.5 there has completely lost control of the car and saved it, but I was about to say it's about to get from bad to worse, because if you look up behind him, Ruben and Tam Daniel are gaining at him at quite a rapid rate. He might end up finishing down in 6th at this rate.
It's quite possible to do. I've been trying to jump back and forth between the gaps and keep an eye on as much of the action as possible. Sean's pitted. He's now in 10th place on ultra soft tyres, so I wonder if he just had enough of those tyres, maybe. I don't know. Maybe no hyper softs left to run him to the end of the race. But driver of the race is definitely going to be the man out front, Blizzard. His pace has been absolutely phenomenal, and he's currently on, he's not got the fastest lap unfortunately. It's currently going to Vettel Racer, which will be his 5th of the season if he keeps it. But he did have the fastest lap earlier. Ruben and Daniel fighting it out into turn 7. Nothing going there. Daniel keeps the position. Daniel actually gets ahead of Ruben, sorry. He was behind that Mercedes, I do believe. So that's a move there for Daniel. Ruben won't be happy, but Blizzard's definitely driver of the race for the season. Sean's been consistent, some aggressiveness as Daniel and Ruben really fighting it out into that chicane there, but nothing doing for the Spaniard. Casper's really impressed me though, especially in the second half of the season. He's been so quick, he's had some really, really good pace, and you can just imagine the championship battle between the two Dutchmen if Casper had been able to have his second half of the season performance in the first half of the season. So it could have been a really close one. The H-Eagle, as we said earlier, what could have been for the German, currently in 8th. Had some good pace. He's had 4 wins this season, the second highest on the grid behind Sean, but just not quite got the consistency of the Ferrari, and a couple of races missed with holiday didn't help him either. There's some really good... I'm hard to push if we're being absolutely serious on who would be driver of the season, because there's a lot of contenders in their own right, to be perfectly honest, but I think we can agree driver of the day, Blizzard, closely followed by Kiski. They've made that 2-stop strategy work, and a shout to Ruben from going up to 6 from the back of the grid.
Yeah, I wouldn't give driver of the season to Sean purely because he's won the championship, because he's had some moments that have been questionable, and I think the amount of time during the stewards is a bit tough, but he's the quickest driver. But driver of the season for me, I think, has to go to Casper for the momentum and the overtakes. He's always clean. No one ever seems to complain too much about him. For his teammate, though, it's, as I mentioned, got bad to worse. Dan Daniel has promoted himself up into P4 now, meaning Cherry 2 Pie's chance for a podium and a race victory this afternoon were well and truly scuppered. As Ruben behind him as well is close. Sean and Lee Finley going at it. Sean showing some rapid pace and moved himself up into P9. Back up the field, Cherry 2 Pie and Ruben. Ruben has gone very late on the brakes. I mentioned earlier as well how him and Dan Daniel, very late brakers. Cherry 2 Pie almost felt the front end of that Mercedes penetrate his gearbox, and that could have been serious damage. But Blizzard is coming through the final corner for one last time, and ladies and gentlemen, we are now entering the final lap of Apex Online Racing's PS4 F2 tier. It's been a great season, and let's just enjoy this last lap of great racing. We've still got some battles, Ruben and the H-Eagle still to come. Let's hope for some exciting last lap action.
Here we go, on to the final lap of what has been a long, arduous, exciting, controversial season in many different ways, shape and form. It's gave us some phenomenal entertainment from top to bottom. There's been a great spread of driver talent and some fantastic battles. The midfield battle, I've said it a number of times tonight and this season, has been unbelievable at times. We 3, 4, 5, 6 cars nose to tail all the way through the race. It's been absolutely brilliant. We've seen the breakout of some drivers, the likes of Casper, as we mentioned, obviously had a bit of a breakout season, as we see Ruben putting more misery on Cherry 2 Pie and going up into 5th place. Sean obviously taking the championship. Lee Finley's come a bit into his own as well, just needs to find a bit more consistency. And obviously then we talk about the likes of Kiski, Blizzard, even Nico, who's not here tonight. He obviously won on the road last week before the stewards changed it to Lee Finley's. Looked quick in places, as well as Cherry fancies a look at the inside of Ruben but decides better off it. It's been a phenomenal season, and I'm looking forward to much more of the same for season 17 when it comes around, and that's going to be fun because it'll probably be a shortened season as well. But through the final couple of corners for the last time, and it's been a bit of a long time coming. We thought he might have done it in Russia, but it is Blizzard who wins the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and that's his first victory in AOR, pole and the win. Great night for him. Casper comes across the line in second place. It's going to be Kiski making it a Renault 1-3. So no, he doesn't actually, because Daniel takes the penalty, so it's Daniel on the podium. Kiski in 4th. Cherry 2 Pie gets 5th place with Ruben down to 6 on penalties. Johan coming across the line in 7th but drops to 9th. The H-Eagle takes 6th. Ruben down to 7th. Sean crashed as he crossed the line in 8th. Johan all the way down to 10th as Lee Finley jumps up to 9th. Now you can see the battered Ferrari behind you. Joglar is going to come across the line to take 11th place. And that's going to be what could have been. Jogler's looked quick in place. In fact, Jogler goes up to 10th. Johan must have had a ton of penalties to drop that far down, so he drops to 11th. Jim Pasty takes 12th. No points for Pasty tonight. And Vettel Racer 13th. Last over the line is Tactician, who for some reason is on the wet tyres. I seen him pitting on the last lap, and he's put a set of wet tyres on for his last lap of the season. Just wants to drift it round, obviously.
Yeah, he wants to make the most of his last few laps. So yeah, quick mention there, of course, Dan Daniel ended up finishing ahead of Sean. maybe a bit of karma. We saw Sean's questionable manoeuvres on Dan Daniel, and he ended up getting past him and finishing on the podium. Is that one of Dan Daniel's first podiums?
I think it is.
I haven't been able to. Yeah, I don't think he's had too many. It must be one of, if not a very limited bunch of podiums for him.
I'll need to have a wee check there. We've seen Tactician doing some donuts and he's now reversing himself across something. So he's finally came to an end of the race, hopefully in just a moment. But the man on your screen right now, Blizzard, is your race victor for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and a phenomenal race. Two-stop strategy made it work here this evening, and the pole position, so I'm sure he'll be absolutely delighted to finish the season on a high. He will be one to watch, I think, in season 17, especially if he does carry on within this tier. But there's your podium. It's Blizzard, Casper and Daniel, and I'm just trying to get to the results page on the website to see if Daniel's had a podium this season at all or not, because I'm not sure. I can't remember any time he's been on a podium. Can you think of one?
Not that I can think of, no, but shall I quickly run us through the classifications, Andy?
Yes, you can do that in a minute. Daniel actually did have one other podium. It was Belgium.
Oh, boring bastard.
Apologise for the language.
It was going to be a great moment. We was going to celebrate, have a big old party for him, but no, he's ruined it. Right, Blizzard has won the Grand Prix. Congratulations to him, his first win of the season, followed by Casper in second. It's Dan Daniel in third, Bakiski in fourth. Cherry 2 Pie started and finishes in P5. The H Eagle only getting sixth. That's third in the championship for him, confirming Casper's second place. Ruben in seventh, Sean in eighth. Ninth is Lee Finley with 10th, going to Joglar. Johan in 11th, Pasty, the mighty one, in 12th, with Vessel in 13th, Tactician 14th, and Ash, the only retirement in this Grand Prix. Quite an impressive feat, only one retirement, finishing in P15. And we're going to now try and get the drivers in for interviews.
Indeed, and just a shout there for Joglar, the H-Eagle and Casper, the only drivers not to pick up a single penalty during the race. So that's obviously quite the way these tracks are these days as well, with all the runoff. We've said it many a times, it's quite a hard thing to do. I'm going to let you get the guys into the chat, and I'm going to go through all the standings so I can give everybody the final standings for every driver that's still left before we finish up tonight. I'll let you enjoy the party, but just one request: no swearing, we are live.
Yes, we'll make sure that the drivers keep themselves in a good state. We'll start off with the podium in interviews, and then we will get drivers in. It seems that Dan Daniel is not joining us, even though he's had a couple of invites. So we're going to get a few drivers in, but we'll start off with Casper. Sorry, not Casper, sorry. We'll start with Blizzard. We'll start with Blizzard, who has just won his first Grand Prix. Congratulations. I'll be honest with you, it didn't look like he was going to be able to get it done when you'd done the two-stop strategy from qualifying, but you just had some rapid pace, and Casper and Sean's battle did come in handy for you.
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing, first of all. Like, my quali lap I was happy with, and just tried to pull away, and Kiski was an amazing wingman at the start, for like 5 seconds, helped me pull 5 seconds in the first stint, and then I pitted. Sorry to Dan Daniel as well. I think I hit him when I passed him. You just kept passing people, and then it came to the third stint, and I saw Sean spun, and I really was confident when I saw him spun that I could actually win the race, and I did.
Well, yeah, it was a mature drive from you. When you was on the two-stop, did you think you could win that race when you started on the two-stop, or was it just a case of trying to get maybe a fourth or podium based on where you qualified?
I didn't know what others' pace was, but the two-stop is normally faster for me. So
finally, he has joined.
Would you two please mind remaining quiet? You're not a part of this just yet. This is the podium interview. You are not part of it. So yeah, it was a good performance from you, and it's your first win of the season. And Andy did mention if you are competing in this season, in this tier once again, that you could potentially have a chance of pushing for a championship. Is that your goal next season if you are racing?
I don't know. I don't know what my pace is for the first couple of tracks, but I hope so.
We'll now move on to Casper, who got P2 in that Grand Prix. No damn Daniel, he's refusing to join, to the disappointment of the masses. We will be trying to get Pasty in here, because there ain't no party like a pasty party, because a pasty party doesn't stop. Casper, congratulations, P2 in the championship and P2 on track. The most consistent and competitive driver in the second half of the season, better than every other driver from, I believe it was Italy onwards. You have been superb in your consistency and your performances. It's another great race. It's another good performance, and you beat out Sean after some intense battling. How did you find it out there?
Yeah, I'm happy that I got P2 in the Drivers' Championship. Also, Cam and myself, we secured P2 in the Constructors' Championship, so really happy with that. Obviously, was battling with Sean, and there was a bit of an incident. I feel that's not my fault. I feel like I got pushed wide, and I had basically no traction down on the curb, and Sean turned into me, so I don't think that's my fault, but we'll have to see what Sean thinks. So yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah, it was a great battle, and it seemed like you were chopping and changing places quite a lot. It looked like if you got the manoeuvre done into the chicane, he'd just get you going down into the second DRS straight. It just looked like a difficult one to. But it looked like from where we was that if you would have got past him earlier, you could have gone on and won that Grand Prix if it wasn't for the hold-up that was caused by Sean, who seemed to lack a bit of pace in the Grand Prix. Do you think if you would have got past him earlier on, you could have probably maybe pulled away from Blizzard, who did have a penalty?
I could have probably won the race, yeah, but I was keeping an eye on Blizzard all the race because I knew he was doing a two-stop, and I knew the two-stop is fast around here in Abu Dhabi, so that was very interesting, but I think I'm way too cautious sometimes. Sometimes I just need to go for it earlier and not later. I think if I could have got past Sean, I could have won the race, but it would have been very close with Blizzard.
So I've got to ask you then, are you racing next season in AOR? Obviously you don't know what tier yet, as it's not been, but are you planning on racing next season?
Of course.
And is your goal to be racing in the top class?
Yes, that's my goal.
Well, we look forward to potentially seeing you there. If not, we'll see you for another season. I'd be very surprised if we see you in this class next season. Of course, a lot of promotions going to be going up and chopping and changing. So that's it for the podium interviews. It's now been No Damn Daniel. Which now moves us on to the main event of the evening. We have one space remaining. We are trying to get the mighty one here. Hashtag points for Pasty sadly was not trending today. Hashtag podium for Pasty was a hopeful pipe dream we had, but that's not happened. I will remind the drivers one final time that there is no foul or abusive language. That means swearing. If you do swear, then there will be major repercussions, so please keep it below board and make sure you don't swear. 17 under sort of atmosphere. I will allow words such as frickin', flippin', and Jesus. Those words are allowed. So we'll start off with Sean, who was involved. Well, we've got to keep it. We'll allow Sean. There will be much champagne flying. I dare say there'll be some form of low quality, grainy video of you with a middle-aged woman as you drink what I can only imagine is your supermarket brand of champagne. After a successful season, you did spin out today, and it looked a little bit like you were just having a bit of fun. What happened?
Well, I mean, Gaspard obviously was still with me in DRS, so I tried to defend as hard as I could. But I still left him. He was still on the track, even though I didn't give him that much, bro. But he still had all four wheels on the track, and I still, give them room to make the corner, but apparently he didn't, so that's why I got spun around. Then I got overtaken by Kiski. Then just it was such a such a thing. I can't swear, but just a race that I thought, just a Jesus race, and I thought, I'm not gonna drive this anymore. So I just went on to the ultra softs last couple of laps and just having fun. Because I couldn't be asked anymore with this race, because it's just a track where I literally can torture myself.
Well, yes, but when he says torture, he means he'll cuddle so many teddy bears that he just dies of excitement. That's what he means by torture. Kids, keep it PG, of course. But we have to quickly mention, though, some of your driving, and this is obviously from an objective point of view this afternoon, not just with Casper, was a little bit questionable. Some of the dive bombs, and there was a particular move on Damn Daniel that was a little bit, as you said, a little bit risky, a little bit Jesus, you could say.
Nah. Well, obviously he is one of those drivers that I could expect to dive on him. So I thought I'm just gonna go for it, because otherwise he's just wasting my time. I'm just hitting a little bit of him with the wheels, and that's it. Just no big deal, because So it's not like just like a Singapore race or so. Of course, yeah. You shouldn't complain.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not very nice. But Jesus, as it was said, Jesus be with you. We're now going to move on to. Yeah, but Jesus be with you, Sean. We're going to now move on to the fastest Scottish driver in F2, and everyone obviously knows he has his moments of a bit of risky driving, but at the end of the day, he's absolutely rapid. Ladies and gentlemen, Lee Findlay. Lee, it was a bit of a disappointing race for you, I'd say. After last week's high of winning, it wasn't a classic from you.
Keep the answer under 30 seconds.
Well,
Andy,
you forgot I was here.
Holding that bad boy in. Wait a minute. The timer has started in 3, 2, 1, go!
Well, my pace was poor today because I was on the wheel, and I don't think I was in the best of strategies today. So that's why I secured 4th place for the championship. So that's why I wanted to go on the wheel for tonight. Boom.
You've still got 10 seconds. You've still got 10 seconds to go. Tell us about your favourite McDonald's menu item.
Oh, I don't know. I can't say in 10 seconds.
And thank you, Lee. That was great. It was great. It was a nice, quick-fire interview. Thank you for that. And that's the last you'll ever hear of Lee Findlay. He's never. Yeah, we'll go to Cameron now. Cameron.
Yeah,
Sean. I'm sorry, but
no.
You're a driving peasant. I am a commentary god, along with Andy, and you will get in your lane. Yes, I am. I will verbally destroy you now. Cameron, the question for you I have to ask, and it's an important question. Of course, you've been driving and you've not had the greatest race, and you've yet to pick up a win. You've had 4 pole positions and a couple of podiums, and it looked like, objectively, you might have a chance of a podium today. How did you bottle it?
I didn't really bottle it as of such, because I knew my pace compared to the people in the ultra softs behind was going to be poor. I knew that they had 6 seconds, 9 seconds. So basically I wasn't pushing. Just let them go past me and everything. But my tyres were starting to fall off a cliff. And then like on the final lap, I got a penalty, and it just kind of ruined my whole plan of getting the positions back at the line.
Well, on the line. On the line. But it was one of them races.
Should have seen our party. Oh.
No, I don't want to see your party. Some people have described it as
Sean was
Jesus.
screaming at me at turn 1.
Yeah, I was going to mention a great manoeuvre at turn 1 to get past Sean. It was a lightning quick start. What happened?
So my wingman Casper took Sean on the formation.
Actually, quick correction there. A wingman is a secondary driver who is outperformed by the superior driver. Now, Casper. Now,
how many points has Casper had?
In the Oxford Dictionary, a wingman actually has a picture of Davidos in his boxing gear. That's the official picture, and it's Sean in the background with a bottle of £5 champagne. But for this description, just imagine small little Casper, little Dutch boy, just skipping along in his Max Verstappen gear, loving life, In the background's Cameron with his fake Scottish flag. That's the epiphany of a wingman here. So Cameron, being Casper's wingman, yes,
little Dutch man checked Sean basically on the formation app. Sean was fuming in the party, swearing at Casper and everything.
Was he saying words such as
rubbing
Jesus?
my fingers together. Sean basically had no start, and then I got up just in front of him, went to the inside immediately. Sean then went, "Jesus, Cam!" and then he got me back a few laps later because I wasn't as quick.
Well, huge congratulations. I think that race really summed up your season. Mediocre, bang average, didn't really do much. Congratulations. I hope you have success next season. We're now going to go through all the drivers from Casper to Blizzard, Sean, the wingman, and Lee Findlay, and we're going to ask you some of your highlights from the season. Now, I'm going to get started. My personal highlight of the season was when Hamilton got himself black flagged by destroying Lee Findlay. An absolute classic of mine. Andy, can we have your highlight of the season?
There was
It
an
could
off.
be anything.
There was an. I can still hear. I am still here and trying not to laugh at the top of my voice. For me, there's been a lot of good moments, but as I said on stream, one of the
30
ones.
seconds.
One of the ones I remember under 30 seconds was Bahrain. Was a really, really good race, but there's a lot of action. You could probably make a great highlights reel out of them all, but I'm not that editing skilled, unfortunately. So I'm going to go with Bahrain, but there was so much out there, and I'm going to end now because that's my 30 seconds.
Yep. Andy goes back into his cave. He has to now do maths. It's his job. Moving on to Casper. Moving on to Casper. Casper, your highlight from the season.
Italy. Definitely Italy.
A great drive, of course. That was a classic commentary moment where somebody, and I'm not saying which commentator, got rather excited. Spoiler alert, it was Andy. Moving on to Blizzard.
Yeah.
Moving on to Blizzard. Blizzard, obviously you joined a little bit later in the season. What you were taking over Abu Dhabi. You're not allowed to say Abu Dhabi. What was your season highlight?
Probably Italy. First points.
Oh, bloody, you lot boring you are. Jesus, you're boring. Sean, if you say Italy, you are banned. Sean, what was your highlight of the season?
Well, I think I have 3. Monaco.
You will have one.
Hockenheim. No, it was always
Monaco,
always
just
again.
because you killed me.
Yeah, and in Hockenheim, I killed you too. Those were my highlights. What do you think?
That is
I'm not
true.
gonna give a boring answer. Come on, you need to have some original answers.
I thought you were going to say Hungary.
Yeah, that was also my favorite.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't
You love-
participate, but I drank a lot of champagne outside.
Honourable mention, of course, going to win. Sean almost got blacklisted for being bad at racing. Moving on to Cameron. Cameron, your
I don't have any good
choice.
points. I'm out of my depth. I
No,
suppose
you
Singapore's
are.
the best
You
thing
are
got.
you're an F8 driver, really. You should be down there with the donk danks and the best of, really. But you should be down there. But we'll move on to Cameron. What was your highlight of the season?
I suppose Singapore. I mean,
Yes, well,
that's as high as it got, really.
Honourable mention to Cameron, of course, for Canada, where he started on pole and
Yeah, that
bottled
was a
it,
good one.
and Singapore, where he started on pole and bottled it, and then you had 2 other races where you started on pole and, surprise, surprise, you bottled it. But, you got that really good podium at Singapore where
Mexico
you
was
led
quite
most of
fun.
the Grand
I
Prix,
bottled it.
and then you bottled it. So the moral of the story is that Cameron has more plastic in him than a recycling bin. Congratulations to you. Lee Findlay, your highlight of the season.
Is there an
Brazil when I
second
won,
under.
and also when Hamilton took me out. That's the funniest moment in the aftermath. About 1 week later, because every time I see it, it's really funny. So there you go. So those two.
Shout out to Big C for getting that to 40 retweets. Big performance, big numbers.
Yeah.
I think we'll finish things off with one final question for the room. Andy can have this question as well, but I think his answer might not really be necessary. But we'll start with Andy. Andy, what's your goal for next season?
To enjoy next season, hopefully alongside you again, because it's been absolutely phenomenal.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to just more of the same. It's been brilliant.
Yes, unless of course I get promoted to F1 for one singular race and I'm never seen of again, murdered by Ali K for taking his place. Moving, Casper, goal for next season. I think we touched on this slightly. Where between 20th and 18th do you hope to finish in F1?
I want to win the championship.
That's
I'm gonna
not
win.
realistic. That's not
I'm going to
realistic. Try again.
No, Sean, it's his dream.
Okay.
Obviously, Casper, your parents will be watching. Do you want to give them a special message? You can do it in Dutch if you want.
Oh
Nah,
dear.
Special
it's
message to
fine.
your parents.
It's fine now.
No, go on. Say hello to Mr. and Mrs. Casper. Your son has. He's done us
Jensen.
all very,
Virgil
very,
van
all,
Dijk.
all very, very proud. We are all very proud of him. Let him try a shandy tonight. He's been a big boy, and I know that it's past his bedtime. But thank you for letting him be here. You're welcome, Casper. You can take
By
that.
the
You may
way-
now get
by the
grounded.
way, breaking news. I
What?
don't know. Some of you might know, but Tactician has
Yeah.
switched to the wheel from Mexico onwards.
What?
Well, I drove with a pet today.
This is breaking news. What? Why has he done this? We've been saying that he's been driving with a pad and been impressed with his performances.
Go
That's
to
it.
Twitter and then you will
He's
read
disqualified.
the whole story.
He's disqualified.
It all started with the US government.
It does. Blizzard, with 3 Zs. Great spelling.
Hey.
First question is, how do you say it? Is it Blizzard? Is it Blizzard? Is it
Say
Blizzard? Is it Blizzard?
Blizzard.
How do you pronounce it?
Just Blizzard.
Okay, so Blizzard. What's your goal for next season?
Top 3.
Top 3. That's a reasonable task. I mean, you could finish top 3 in F2, for example, while Casper is finishing 18th in F1. Shortly behind him in 19th will be Sean, after he's been black flagged for calling many names to many different people.
Gee, I always do that.
Sean, apart from destroying your liver with budget alcohol and crap videos, how do you
Nuts.
plan on taking next season in the top class? I imagine in the steward's inquiry.
Yes, and I'm gonna correct that. It's not budget alcohol, quality alcohol.
Okay. Yes, whatever you say.
And the goal for next season is probably finish in the top 5 with champagne.
Of F1,
Yes.
with quick drivers,
Yeah. I mean,
with your
I'm
racecraft.
With Florence,
Yeah.
Sean, and Michael on the same grid. Jeez.
I mean, I'm using my open lobby skills. I mean, no one can tip that.
No,
Come
no
on.
one can. Well, congratulations on being a champion, all that. I mean, it couldn't have happened to a nicer person. I mean, I could think of maybe 19 other people that deserve it more, but congratulations, you won it.
I know, that's why I'm just the most undeserved people.
You are
undeserved champion.
the
that
F2
ever is.
villain. The F2 villain. The meme of the league. Cameron, we'll go to you.
Yes.
And my question to you, Cameron, a little bit different to other people. Say if your goal for next season, how many steward inquiries do you plan on doing next season?
I don't even make that many.
You do.
make
You got
6.
warned.
I've
You
only
got warned
got
by the
5
head
penalty
steward.
points.
You got warned by the head steward for making too many
had
penalty
8.
requests.
You had
I have
8.
5 penalty points as well. We don't need to take note of that. My
Okay,
first
well,
season at AOR, I had the same as
5
Sean.
Okay.
But-
Well, okay. Would you
Can I
like
do
to,
my
what-
goal now? Come on now.
Yeah, you can do your goal. Is it to win
Right.
F8 with Dog
Right.
Jacob?
My goal is to be top 5 and at least win. Convert a pole, basically.
Oh, fair enough. Lee, in 10 seconds.
Seconds.
In F2, I'm aiming to win the championship. If I'm in F1, just to fight in the points regularly.
Right. Well, if he gets to F1,
We
fair
have to
play.
go back to the left for that.
One final question. So I've just thought of it. 'Cause I know I'm stretching it out here. I'm making Casper's bedtime be as late as possible. He's going to wake up in the morning and his parents are going to be
His
confused why
sleep
he's so.
pattern was already
sleepy.
disturbed, so it doesn't
Dora the
even matter for
Explorer
him.
does go on till 10:30, so Casper is safe. We'll start
Half
with
10.
the final question.
12.
Half
It's Dutch time. Dutch time.
This
for
Dutch
us.
time. Yes.
That's
It's 1 hour later. 1 hour
Oh,
later.
sorry. Okay, final question. Final question. Final question. Final question, and this goes to Andy as well. Who is your prediction for the F2 champion next season?
Blizzard.
Oh, jeez.
Blizzard! Ooh! Casper, who are you going to predict?
Cherry 2 pie.
You're delusional. Blizzard!
I was hoping you said that.
What did you say,
Jesus.
Blizzard, sorry?
Is Demon coming up?
Yes.
Potentially, yes.
I was
Demon
thinking
has won the
that.
championship.
Yes, and
And
he is
F3.
coming up. Sean, who is your prediction?
Bestie.
And I was going to say, Sean is
Bestie.
correct. Sean is correct.
Yeah,
Don't even
Bestie.
need to have asked Cameron or Lee.
Tweet it out
Hashtag,
now.
Hashtag champion.
champion Stee is trending worldwide.
Yes.
And Cameron,
Make it realistic.
Dunno. Me.
okay, well that's not realistic.
That's
Lee
That's 2
Findlay,
votes, mate.
Lee Findlay, who are you saying for champion next season? Can't say yourself.
It's tough to say, to be honest.
You can say me and I'll
Um,
say you.
time's up.
I'm gonna say Jim Pasty because he's the
Correct
goat.
answer. Correct answer. I would have also accepted Donk Dank. Andy makes a surprise addition and braces. Pitmat, Demon, or even at a slight push, Big C comes back as a comeback tour, comes into F2 and smashes the field.
I hope
we'd
not.
also Hamilton on
He
the
would just
second
swipe
account.
him for being in PS2 F2.
And we'd also allow Hamilton to return using someone else's account because we all know he has history. That's it.
And on that note,
Can you stick it out? You've got to say a quick. Want to just say a thank you to all the drivers who have showed up. Of course, Casper, Blizzard, Sean, Cameron, Lee Findlay, R.I.P. Pasty, who probably won't race in F2 again. It will be a big shame. We'll find someone else to support. That's it from me. And we'll go to Andy, who has got the final standings. Farewell, everyone. I hope you have enjoyed. From me, goodbye.
yes, it's time to wrap this up. It's now time to wrap up. So I'm going to go as quick as I can. Go through it all. So we'll know Sean's the
30
champion.
seconds. 1
300. Okay. Sean finished in first, obviously 303 points. Casper second, 248. It was H Eagle third, Lee in fourth, Tactician fifth. Davidos sixth, and Spider, having missed the second half of the season, still finished in seventh. Ruben in eighth. Kiski moved up 2 places to ninth. Ash in 10th. Vettel Racer 11th. Blizzard jumped up a few places to 12th with his win here tonight. Cherry Tupai in 13th. McGrady in 14th. 15th went to Dan Daniel. 16th for Nico. Jundu 17th. RC Sam in 18th, who was never seen. Jim Pasty sandbagged all season on 9 points in 19th. And Ayamote finished in 20th. And in the constructors, we know the top 3 was Ferrari, Toro Rosso and Sauber. McLaren in 4th, Red Bull in 5th. It never really changed too much. Renault jump up to 6th place in the constructors. I mean, Mercedes 7th, Force India 8th, Haas in 9th, and Williams sandbagging, as I said earlier, down in 10th place. And that is it. We are wrapping this one up, because if not, this is going to turn into a Triple X show, and Ollie, don't even say anything, I'm not allowing it. Thank you very much to all thank you very much to all the drivers for joining us during the season tonight. Thank you to everybody who's been watching us. Hope you've enjoyed this end the season situation, and also put up with the issues earlier on. For myself, Andy, for Ollie, all the drivers, everyone at AOR, thank you for joining. Join us for season 17. Until then, see you again soon. Ta-ra.